Welcome to the ClevelandMoto Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 540. Light 'em up, boys. And we've got a very special guest tonight. It's going to be coming on in a little while, but I know you guys are all excited about talking to Robot from San Diego. To my left, we've got
Dan Kromke.
And behind the boards,
Steve Sleepy.
And to his left,
Johnny Mac.
And to his left,
Speedy Pete.
And behind the bar tonight,
Tom Pennington.
John, you bought a bike.
$100 holla.
$100. What kind of economy is it in Cleveland, Ohio, that people are selling? Is it a running motorcycle?
Oh, no, not even close. I
looked complete, though.
I'd like to say it has a lot of potential, as in it potentially needs a CDI. It potentially needs parts. It could potentially be a pain in the ass.
It could be a potential motorcycle at some point. And what is this motorcycle that you got?
It's a 1999 Kawasaki EX250 Ninja, 250R.
Baby Ninja. Twin cylinder,
if you don't know. 2 carburetors, fuck carburetors twice.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess I happened to stumble upon what was a Tao Hellcat on Marketplace for $100. And it was listed with a title for $100. And I would never really want a Tao Hellcat, but for a titled little bike that, you know, my daughter's starting to learn to ride, I thought, well, I'll try to grab that. Well, and I sent it to, I don't know, Sleepy or somebody. And then Kevin Rosman chimed in like, oh, yeah, we've been trying to get that bike for a long time. The guys at Flake, blah, 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 blah. So the saga ensued. And I had made contact with him. I'm like, can I come pick this bike up for $100? And he said, yeah. And I was like, okay, when's good for you? And then he ghosted me. And then a couple days later, I don't know, I happened to see it again. And so I sent him sort of a cryptic message. I'm like, so how much? Because these guys were saying he wanted more than the $100 he was asking for.
Right.
So I'm like, how much do you want for this?
And this is for the Tao.
This is for the Tao Hellcat. 125C, like a Piranha motor.
It's a fake ROM.
$1,000 brand new from Walmart.
Right.
I mean, literally, you can go buy one for $1,000. And so I just sent a cryptic message. So how much do you want for this? It's actually want for this stupid thing. Mm-hmm. And he came back and said $100. And I said, okay, well, what's your address and when can I come pick it up? And he sent me his address.
Right on.
Said I could come pick it up at 4 o'clock.
Okay, great.
So I go over there at 4 o'clock. I pull over.
You should mention it was on your way home from work right there, too, right?
Yeah, it was right around the corner from work. So I pulled in the driveway, said, I'm in the driveway, waited a while. He finally stumbles out. 20-some-year-old kid, redhead, ginger. He has a soul, though, I think.
Yeah, okay.
But so I was walking over there, and there was a yellow Ninja 250 sitting there. And I just sort of jokingly said, oh, this is a pretty good bike for $100. He said, do you want it? I'm like, well, how much did you want for it? He's like, $100. And I'm like, well, does it have a title? He's like, yeah, I have the title inside. I'm like, get out. He's like, yeah, I just want rid of them. I had that bike loaded up on the truck 6 times. People flaked on me. Wow. I was going to take it to them. And then one guy showed up and he wasn't there. And he's like, I just want rid of them.
So he's tried to deliver that bike to somebody.
Yeah, I guess he was trying to sell it for $300 or $400 or something stupid. And so, yeah. So he goes in the house, runs in the house. On the way there, I had established that he had a title for the Tao, but it wasn't in his name yet. And I said, well, I'll still come look at it. And maybe, we'll work something out. So that paid off because I got this bike instead.
Yeah, which is 2 times as many cylinders.
Yeah.
2 times as many cc's.
Yeah.
Wow.
And 2 times as many carburetors.
He goes out, so I'm waiting. He brings the title out. I'm like, this is going to be fucked up somehow. I look at the title. It's his name. It's his address. I'm sitting at his house, his address.
Right.
I look at the VIN. I check the VIN on the bike. I'm like, this is actually the VIN for the bike. I'm like, I'll give him $100. I'm like, yeah, here's $100. Take it.
Yeah.
We loaded it up, and then he's going to supposedly go get the other title switched over, and I'll go back and get the China bike too for $100 with the title.
Sleepy wants to pull a picture up. I got the bike pulled up here.
For the mathematically challenged, I want to mention that a buck a cc is now down to 40 cents a cc.
It is.
Hey, in this economy, you take what you can get.
That's
way low.
So it's a little bit. It's a 2000. I think it's a 99, but I think they changed the bodywork over to 2007.
So this is the 99 that I pulled up.
Look up the 2007 is the bodywork that it has on.
Oh,
it.
really?
Yellow
Yeah,
with flames.
Yeah, they look like they bought the flames at Pep Boys, but it really is factory.
Yeah, but it's essentially the same bike. They made that bike didn't change from 88 to 2007.
It's the KLR 650 of sport bikes.
And it's what Kawasaki does best.
There you go. Oh, that's
But
fantastic.
they didn't really need to change it. But I've gone through it. I think it was previously stolen, bought from an auction. Then this kid ended up with it. Didn't know that he thought the transmission was fucked at first. Well, he thinks the guy he got it from thought the transmission was fucked because it has the Kawasaki thing, where you can't shift it into second unless it's running. So he did eventually said he had it running and shifted through all the gears and everything. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's good. Piper's moving up in the world.
I just think that it might end up needing a CDI because when I was able to, I drilled out the lock that was on it and I was able to get it to sort of power up and the tack went right to 7,000. And I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
That's not because that would come from the CDI, I think.
Yeah, and if the tack jumped and the RPMs didn't jump with it.
What I did, well, it's not running, but
Right.
I did cut the wire that's the tack wire that goes to the CDI, and I cut all the wires out of the ignition, and I was just playing around with like doing the lights and stuff. Still jumps up, so I don't know if that's just something in the tack.
Isn't that like a 4-wire connector that has like a brown, red, blue, and white?
So there's two versions of the ignition switch for that. There's a 7-wire.
Yeah.
There's a 6-in-1, and then there's a 7.
Okay.
And I think somebody bought the 7 and then cut they cut the harness.
Gotcha.
And they soldered everything in. I don't know.
That's always the worst.
Yeah, I don't know if they got the color coding right because it's two different sets of color codes.
Well,
And
the good news is everything for that bike is available on eBay for like $50.
yeah, I looked up carburetors. They have a rack of carburetors on Amazon for $60.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And I'm like, that's crazy. So the one thing, there's a couple of things like if anybody's got any parts out there, I'm looking for exhaust system. Like they took the baffles out, and I think it's going to be really annoying without the baffles in it. So I might like to do something, or I'll have to fix that up. But the inner fender is missing, so like the CDI and the
got it all splashed.
I want to get it's like clean, like it's
Oh, it
never
is.
been ridden. Like it's got 5,900 miles on it.
Okay.
And
Even better.
It's never it never was in the mud or anything like that. It hasn't been bullshitted up. It's been sitting around for a long time.
And if the inner fender was missing, then all that stuff would be just covered in garbage.
They tore the inner fender out when they tried to pull the airbox out, and they just never put it all back together. And it's come up missing. But that's where you mount the CDI and the rectum fryer and some other things. So
that's great.
I mean, for just some incidentals, I'll probably have $200 or $300 total into it. But yeah.
Well, here's an interesting thing because we got a letter from one of our Patreon members about a project that he's got. So Kyle Dunbar, you may remember from Kyle at dunbuild.com. Kyle has sent us a really cool thing. He said, "Hey, Cleveland Moto dudes, I like collecting projects like their baseball cards. 2 years ago, I traded a running 77 CT90 for a non-running 2000 ZRX 1100. That is a big bike, right? ZRX 1100.
You got displacement out of that.
You did get displacement in that deal. You have upgraded yourself 1,010 cc's. The story was that it had been parked outside for 15 years, but wouldn't need much to get running. The excitement of trading a $1,200 CT90 for an easy ZRX project clouded my judgment. Yes, it did. What I got instead was a locked-up engine that had obviously inhaled something metallic, a gas tank so rusty that I could poke my fingers through it, and completely seized up brakes and clutch. It's been one roadblock after another with this project. I found out that I'd need an overbore or replacement cylinder. Well, all of the cylinders on eBay look like shit. Yeah, they do. I asked my local motorcycle dealership if they could recommend a machine shop, and they said nope, and let me know if you find one. I can agree with that. I ended up sending the cylinder to Millennium Technologies, who did a great job but charged me around $2,500.
Oh, my God.
Abort.
Not only did I need an overbore, but I also needed new valves because mine were either bent or too far gone to grind. Did I mention it had inhaled something metallic? The head needed some grinding, welding, and a resurfacing to fix those divots. Anyway, I got the engine reassembled to the point where it's about ready to go back into the frame. I replaced all the rubber seals that I could access without splitting the cases. There was no metal in the oil, and the bottom end bearings did feel good, so I hope I didn't regret digging further. At this point, I don't know if I should continue throwing hundreds at this thing or cut my losses by selling the rebuilt engine on eBay. Are ZRXs as good as people claim? P.S. I love your podcast, but I do have an ulterior motive sending this email. Long story short, I'm a software engineer by trade and decided to build a free tool for normal people to track and share their automotive projects. It's not another social media. I want people to stay in their favorite forum, Facebook group, subreddit, and simply share their build from my website and use it as a tool to stay organized. It's still early days, but the website is live and I'm working at this time. It's live and working at this time. I literally have 3 users. I don't even know if or how I will ever make any money from this. I just wanted to create a cool tool that someone like you or myself would use. If I don't hear back, I get it.
Wait. When he said that, I just imagined him twisting his mustache. Like, I don't intend to make any money
at this. I'm doing it for the love of the game, I see.
Yeah, see.
But if you do check out the site, I'd love to hear any criticisms you might have. So the site is called Dunbuild, Dunbild, Dunbuild.com.
Now, if you heard that, he paid his bill.
He paid his bill, exactly. But he says he has his ZRX build up there on his site, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
That he put his own thing up there so that you could see it or other people could chime in to this website that he's built that has his build project in it. So I've clicked on the link and it is actively trying to do something. It is. No, here it goes. We're here. Yeah, we were physically on site.
It's the ADV.
And I now have AIDS. Yeah, that's it. All right, so here's his bike. So this is the 2000 Kawasaki ZRX 1100, a.k.a. ZRX by D-Bar. So D-Bar's got his bike up there, and there it is strapped to the back of the trailer. Clearly at the power washing bay, clearly at the you wash it.
2 best days of owning the bike. This is one of them.
It sure is. And it looks like it looks like it's got somebody spent a little extra money on the saddle on that thing, right? It's the black and gray livery. And there's another picture of it on the at home on the red Harbor Freight lift with no fucking motor in it at all. So I feel bad because the guy's got $2,500 into this engine rebuild, and he's still very far away from a running motorcycle.
He's got $3,000 into a $500 bike.
But is he?
Well, here's the trick.
He's also missing a CT90.
He's missing a CT90 he spent $1,200 on, so he has a little more room in the garage, I guess.
I mean, if the motor's put together, stick it in the bike and go.
Well, and this
then
is
he just
it.
needs a $500 gas
And he has a
tank.
well-organized garage, and he's got some very expensive skis and snowboards hanging in the background. So that's,
He's ahead of the game for 27 years of my life because he has a lift. I never had a lift.
That's true.
I had a 2x4. I put the bike, so I got 2 inches of lift on it.
Brand new looking Harbor Freight lift in there. And his chemicals appear to be organized on the wall, and he's got the holder to hold all the Ryobi tools. So he's a man who knows organization, let's say it that way. So that's a good sign.
I just got my lift back into play when I was doing my build project on the Buddy 125, and it's like, where have you been all my life? What have I been doing? I had one bike sitting on it, and I was working on other bikes, and never, it just got sandbagged on the lift, and I'm like, fuck yeah, bring bikes in here, throw them on the lift, jack them up, work on them.
And he said $2,500 at Millennium Technologies, and it does show that he did have a Wiseco piston kit, which he did put the part number down there for, too. I like this build sheet thing. I love this. And then it also says that November 23rd of last year, he did an oil change on it at 57,000 miles. So it does look like he's got... It looks like he's got, or he's going to have an oil change due at 57,000 miles based on the math I see here. But here's my basic wrap up of this. Based on his email that he sent us, the biggest thing that I would be concerned about is he did all this top end, right? So he did all this top end work. He sent this out to have a lot of money spent doing the top end work. And it's a motorcycle that is arguably not necessarily worth $2,500 plus the 1200 CT90, because these ZRXs can be had kind of in running fettle for about $3,500.
We tossed a 1200 blowing smoke for about 2,000 at Barber a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So This is a tough spot to be in. He is pot committed at this point.
You've now hit sunk cost.
You are. You are definitely at sunk cost. I
But
totally agree.
If you're into those bikes, it's a great fucking platform.
It is.
And like, there's English dudes out there that have those things fucking fitted out and kitted and look like old school street fighters, man.
Very cool.
Really cool.
Very, very cool bike. And so, again, should he continue throwing hundreds at it? Well, I think what he should do is he should go to the trouble of hanging the motor. Let's get some fire in this thing and see what happens and see what's in your bottom end.
Yeah. And then sell it as quickly as possible.
Okay, and because we talked about this already, keep in mind when you put the bike up on the lift or when you put the motor back in it, you are not going to be able to shift past second gear. We talked about this a lot. Yeah. The Kawasaki transmission means that you can't shift past second gear or into second gear unless you've run through first already, right? So unless the engine's running.
I think my KLR will. I don't know, but
it depends on the bike, but if the motor's not running, you're not going to push this thing second, third, fourth, fifth gear. So just to be aware of that, don't think you have a bottom end problem instantly or a transmission problem instantly if it doesn't do that. Yay. Sounds like, it sounds like you're being a little bit, I replaced all the rubber seals that I could access without splitting the case. There was no metal in the oil and the bottom end bearings felt good. I'm hoping that's, I want this to be good for you.
Well, as long as there's not clutch material in the oil, you're fine.
I agree.
Because there's nothing really rubber inside of that motor.
I agree. I think that this is...
The one thing I would have wanted to check is just the rods really closely because if it chunked something through the cylinder and cracked the head...
could have bent a rod.
It could have been a rod.
Could have bent a rod.
That would be my only...
But
that'll be pretty easy to tell. If the motor's together and you hook it up to a starter and check the compression...
That's true.
Right.
If your compression's up, then it's probably not a bad
And
rod.
you can also check TDCs through the holes and see where they're supposed to be. If you got a bent rod, they won't be
dial
right.
gauge type thing.
I've never bent my rod and not been aware of it.
This is absolutely true.
They have a treatment for that now, and I keep getting that out on YouTube for some reason.
Yep,
Probably you.
It's fine. So that is, I think all that is good. And anybody who wants to keep track of this, again, it's Dunbuild, DUNBUILD, dunbuild.com to keep track of his project or to send your own project in so that other people can cheer you on with your project. So, yeah, man, I'm telling you, I'm not a praying guy, but I pray for you, Kyle.
Well, this is one of the situations where you're like, look, if this is a project and you want to keep going, but don't expect to ride it. Go buy something else to ride while you're working on it.
And if you want out from under it, at the price of 40 cents per cc.
Oh, God.
Let me just say, fuck you, Tom, because you're a pessimist about everybody's motorcycle. I come in here and you started shitting on my Ninja 250. Oh, my God. You put your daughter on a Ninja 250? You must not love her. You kakasaka.
I'm a realist. I have to deal. I have to deal with this.
You're offering me to trade my Ninja for a fucking Cheetah
Legend? Just saying, there's a guy looking for a non-running
You think
bike.
that's a good move? How can we even trust a guy like you?
It's a running Cheetah.
Oh my God. There's no helping you.
Yeah. What is funny is one of our listeners was nice enough to send us, and he must be Canadian because he's looking for things on Kijiji. But the reason I bring this up is, remember how we were talking about how V4 carburetors, Honda Magna carburetors and stuff like that, and really just a fate worse than death if you ever have to go in and rebuild one. So this guy, absolutely, we're talking about Scott Schaefer, right? He sends us this link, and I gotta give him credit. This is on Kijiji. This is in Toronto, Ontario. Actually, Brampton. So Bramladesh, if you're fancy. They are selling complete racks, and they have the place called the Carb Spa, and they are doing multiple sets of Honda Magna and Interceptor carbs for sale. They've all been professionally cleaned and bench tubed. Install and ride right away by the carbspa.ca. And he says, that's me, right? Carbspa.ca. Some have been upgraded with larger jets and shims or stainless steel screws. All are 100% functional right out of the box. Install them and go riding right away. Now, this is, his username on Kijiji is Mag Nandy or Mag and Andy, like Mag Nandy. And apparently he's made a living for himself. Well, probably not made a living, but he's trying, and he's fighting the good fight, because this maniac is putting the time and effort together to bench build beautiful sets of V4 carbs.
Well, that's the biggest reason.
Go ahead. You started talking first.
I was going to say that's the biggest reason why a Magna ever sits is because
Yes.
nobody wants to rebuild the carb.
Including,
And that's essentially what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, though, if you do it and do it successfully, you do end up with a pretty powerful bike. If it's a V65, I mean, hey, not.
I have in my garage right now a 1987 V42.5 Magna, a 700, right? So I have a 87 Magna 700 sitting in my garage that was put up because I hit a curb with it and the wheels were chipped. Like, the wheels were fucked. They were just broken. So the wheels are broken, but the motor ran great. Everything was delightful. But I know it's been sitting for 25 years, right? So I know it's going to absolutely need 4 carbs done. So yeah, it would be in my best interest if I ever decided, which ironically, I found the front wheel, which is like off of a Honda V800 Shadow as well as the Super Magna. But the back wheel, that giant solid aluminum disc that those bikes have, that back wheel is like fucking hen's teeth to find that thing.
Do you have a title for it?
Yep.
I'll give you $100.
Hey, there you go.
John's on a roll.
John is on a roll.
He's on fire.
I'm on a carb-free diet myself.
Yeah, right. That is the right place to be. So yeah, so we're at it. That was a real deal. But yeah, think about it. What a cottage industry that is just rebuilding Magna carbs.
I got to find that sweet spot of where I'm not pole dancing.
I'd like to talk just about the psychology of working on motorcycles. And for me, it has been a huge a lift in my spirits to be out and working on my bikes and doing it successfully. Now, sometimes it can be depressing when it's just all a fucking pain in the ass, or
You
you're overwhelmed with
I have
projects and you can't figure out which one to do. But
Sometimes a project can crush your soul so much that you just give up on it and never want to work on a vehicle ever again.
that can be that way,
Yeah.
but it also has a huge upside potential where, I had that buddy scooter lying around for a couple of years, and it was just one of many things that was a bane in my side. And I got rid of a lot of the things that were, like, oh, fuck, you suck. But it was, But I did manage to just, you know what? I'm going to drag that here. I'm going to throw it on the lift. I'm going to take it apart and, talk to you. Got a really good deal on a top end kit, slapped it on it, got it running, and it's running like a perfect. And it you can't believe how happy.
Yeah. Oh, believe me,
trust me, it's always
to have
great when
taken
they
a
run.
free buddy and got a couple $100 at it, and now I've got a perfect running little bike. And
Oh, God.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Many, many, many years ago, I got a CB500 Force. Not a CB550K. No, a CB504, right? 500F. Only a couple of years they made that bike.
Yeah, the first years.
And they're sweet. They're just sweet, sweet motorcycles. And yeah, for every reason in the world, a CB550F or K is a better bike than the CB500 was. However, I like the CB500 better. And Merritt and I had a matched set of green ones. That really
that's beautiful.
Bacchus green metallic.
Oh, yeah.
So beautiful. And we had a matched set, just worked out that way. And I was really proud of those two bikes. But while I was down hunting a set of exhausts from a guy in Southern Ohio, he's like, well, if you want a project bike, just take that one. And I said, oh, by all means, I'm there for you. I'm your guy. So, but he'd harvested everything good off of it. So it was just a roller, right? No gas tank, no side panels. There was some shitty handlebars on it, but it was a roller. And I had accumulated enough stuff to build a pretty good shitty cafe racer out of that bike. But the top end was locked up. And man, on a 4-cylinder Honda, that is never a good thing. Just like this guy's going through with the ZRX. I pulled that entire thing apart. I cleared off 2 workbench tops to take that motor and systematically deconstruct that motor. And I got that thing completely pulled down, and then I found out what had happened is it had cooked the cams. So it definitely was not getting enough lubrication to the top end, and the cams were blue and the journals were purple, right? And this thing had completely had a top end cam failure. And it was a giant pain in the ass to find parts for that bike that didn't also suffer a similar fate, because that's kind of why they went away. And that's one of the things they changed for the CB550 was better oiling to the top end. So I got this motor. I spent probably more money on parts for this thing because you got to go to the people that have them. And finally got the thing together, put it in the chassis, put the wrong gas tank on it, and was just, let's just proof of life this thing. And yeah, when it fired up, the day that it fired up and it was running, I was like ecstatic. I was the happiest guy in the world that bike had run, and that energized me on that bike. And I was like, okay, that's it. We're building this. This is going to be a cool kick-ass cafe racer product.
That's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I went and visited Greg at Skidmark, and I bumped into Steph. I'm going to go do a video with Steph next week, and she's working on a 504 that she's doing an insane fucking bike. So I'm going to go film
and
it
the CB504, like, Steph and I are fun to talk to each other because she has a GB500, which we all know is close to my heart.
Right.
And then she told me that she was doing this CB504, and I was like, oh, man.
Because her shit is, it's not just like, cafe racer.
No,
like
her work is art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything she touches turns to gold.
Yeah.
Very
Really,
cool.
really. I can't wait to film it.
When you put a bike together like that, it's like one of the, I mean, like every day when I come home from work, I go start the buddy up. I run it a little bit, fluff it up, let it run, let it sit there and idle while I'm doing some other stuff. I'm also trying to break the cylinder, the
Sure, break it in a little bit.
But I'm like, it's a little delightful thing just
It
to hear
is.
it run.
Yeah. They're just happy. You know,
See, every day I get home, I contemplate shooting the Dodge or setting it on fire. Could I part it out, or would I have more fun just like killing each individual part as I take them off?
What is that sleepy upside down in a ditch on fire?
Yeah. I'm probably going to get it running for at least a day.
I know where there's a 20-year-old kid who's got $100 in his pocket if you want to hit him up.
you know exactly where that kid is.
He was one of those types too. He's like, he was looking at the rack because I borrowed Hoffer's. He's like, well, that's a nice rack, but the welds on it aren't very good. Mm-hmm. I'm in an apprenticeship program.
He's being critical.
Yeah, there you go.
Good, man. Maybe he'll have pride in his work.
He's learned how to spot a bad weld.
That's right.
That's a good thing.
Not mad at that.
No, that's pretty rad.
He did have a Velocitor. This goes out to Nick. I didn't do anything to the motor Velocitor, but I did everything else, like an intake and an exhaust and all that. So, yeah.
What's a Hyundai? It probably still has the warranty on it. You don't touch the motor.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You guys want to throw this up? This is that bike. So this is the bike, and I'm not proud of this. I mean, this has a 4-into-1 that goes into what you could generously call a leaf blower, right? But what I can tell you is
a reach around pipe. It's just going down and tickling the tank.
The exhaust underneath that bike is literally that's how you can tell how high the curbs are. Because it's in a 3-inch dump, like a 4-into-1 header off of something that I just basically heated up the headers enough to bend them over to the same spot and did some very marginal welding to make a 4-into-1 header. But what I will tell you about this particular motorcycle is I ended up enjoying this bike far more than I should have for a bike that throws down a whopping like 30 horsepower. Right? There's nothing about this bike that can be considered to be high performance. But it was fun, and because it was a free bike, right?
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people these days mistake horsepower for character.
Right.
Because I've had more fun on small, weird bikes than I have on any like super high horsepower bike or anything
Absolutely.
like that.
Honda Monkey what?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And how many did they sell? Because that many people agree, too.
I have had more fun on a DeBlassie folding bike. Phil can tell you that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Than I have on a Hayabusa.
Yeah, it was funny because this one I did not want to spend the money to, the carburetors on this bike are mechanical carburetors, right? So they're mechanical carburetors, and they're very easy to rebuild. They're just a really, really simple.
To this day, that scooter, the folding scooter, still talks about the day that Tom rode it. It was like, and then it came out of nowhere, sat on me. Every bolt in the bike was shaking.
Well, it was the year of the mud.
Yeah.
And Phil was like, "Get off the thing.
Come
Take the
on,
Zoom."
Well, it literally, you know what it is? I always thought of those things as like a old lady shopping cart with wheels on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they literally look like you could just fold it and put it.
Yeah, it literally looks like a crawler.
Yeah. Sorry.
and they are.
That hit me, and I couldn't keep that one in.
You know what's the weird thing is the fact that it folds
Yeah.
actually doesn't make your life any easier.
No.
It really doesn't.
It just adds points of failure.
That it folds just enhances the shittiness of the whole vehicle. The entire vehicle, the fact that it folds makes it worse. It does not make it better.
And
because
it's not
it only gets 20% smaller when you fold it up.
And it's not light. It's not like you're going to fold it, throw it over your shoulder and walk down the street.
It comes with a fucking hockey bag to infer the idea that you're going to fold this cocksucker up, you're going to literally put it into the hockey bag, and you're going to walk down the street with it. Throw the picture up of what this thing is. It's so awkward, stabby, and heavy that when you put it in the hockey bag, it just immediately punches through the hockey bag. Like all the stabby parts on this thing just break right through the sides of it. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is they're now making an electric version of the thing.
Which is probably a better idea.
Which is probably the best idea ever because a 2-stroke carbureted disaster. So they are making an electric version of the folding De Blasi folding bike. Again, in this particular instance, I say, huzzah, you fixed the one problem it had is it was trying to pretend to be a motorized vehicle. Yeah, what a fucking wreck.
And now
this
it can
thing
probably
is.
actually go 25 miles.
Well,
Yeah. Oh,
so
God, so bad.
some of you might remember they sold these as you called this company and a dude would roll up on a De Blasi folding scooter and drive you home from the bar.
Those there was a whole team of British fellas that did it with multiple different small bikes.
And the biggest problem is it has a gas tank on it, and it's hot when it shows up to go into the back of your
not
car.
a great thing. Not a great thing.
That was a whole Top Gear episode.
There was a Top Gear episode literally about that. And they used, you didn't use the De Blasi if you wanted to get home. I can tell you that everything that it makes up for an Italian or loses in Italian innovation, meaning that it has a bunch of moving parts and it still doesn't work right, they make up for with the lack of reliability of the motor, the drivetrain. It's not a great vehicle. Not on its best days.
I just watched a YouTube program or whatever where the guy rode one around Scotland.
Tanuki-san.
Oh, Tanuki-san's up. Hey, drink to Tanuki. Hey. He rode one around Scotland? A De Blasi?
Yep.
Holy shit.
And he was regretting it.
Well, he had to be regretting it when he left.
Yeah. I don't remember what the guy's channel was called or what, but I watched it just a couple days ago.
Here's a picture of the De Blasi gasoline-powered scooter in its normal state or just having been in a crash. I'm not sure. This shows it pre-compacted. This is what it looks like when it's folded up in its portable state. This, just buy that, park it in your living room, put a piece of glass on top, call it an end table. Don't ever let it fire a shot in anger.
When Eric Buell was finally told he was out, he took the last Buell Blast and crumpled it into a table.
They made a full-page ad out of it.
And this is exactly what it looks like.
Right. They made a full-page ad that said, introducing your new 2008 Buell Blast. And it was literally a cube that had been in the compactor already. And I'm not sure who paid for the ad, whether it was Harley Davidson paid for the ad or somebody.
I think that was Eric Buell just being very, very, very upset.
Yeah.
Sodak69C110 says, we used to use those for designated driver service here in South Dakota years ago.
Exactly. That's exactly how they got here.
An awful vehicle.
It is.
It is a terribly, terribly awful vehicle. If you've never ridden one, just thank yourself. That's good. You've been living a clean life. If you want to throw this up, Sleepy, this is kind of fun. This is the full page.
Oh, it is the
introducing the
Buell Blast.
2010 Buell Blast. There you go.
He was so bitter that he had to make
Smashed air-cooled 4-stroke cylinder. Horsepower, torque, 0 horsepower at 0 torques, dry weight 360 pounds.
Yeah, but
View the Buell Blast features.
Yeah, but what was it like after they crumpled it?
Yeah, this is what that is. But yeah, somebody was fucking rightfully angry about that shit.
Well, he was. I remember that article. He was very, very bitter that Harley made him make the 500.
Yeah, and you could tell every single one was built to the very lowest of build quality.
Sodak agreed with you. They were not great.
No, they're fucking awful,
That
man.
works with the De Blasi and the Blast.
It was the one where we had four perfectly capable people try to ride the De Blasi in well manicured grass on terra firma, and we had 4 people that know how to ride bikes, and the only person that was any good at it at all was Kurt Cousineau after about 7 strong drinks. And Kurt Cousineau, Anne-Marie, Stefan's wife, Anne-Marie, she did remarkably well on it too. And she'd had a few wobbly pops. But Kurt came over and I showed him how to work it. I was like, that's how you do it. And he just jumped on the thing and like he's part circus clown.
I was going to say, in no way do we recommend drinking and driving unless you're off road.
Unless you have to.
Right. Because if you're off road, I'm telling you, I've seen people that can't ride a mini bike. And after 5 beers, they are fucking rolling on the thing. And I'm like, hell yeah.
They become Valentino Rossi. And they don't even know why.
Yeah. You remember the Simpsons
flip-flops?
The Simpsons episode where he goes to clown college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I look like Homer Simpson.
Oh, God. It was just ridiculous. Tom had no business being anywhere near that bike.
How long did it take to remove the seat?
No. So on to tonight's show notes for anybody who's paying attention, who gets the emails or rather goes to the Facebook page and knows what we're talking about every night. The first thing we're going to talk about is, yes, Royal Enfield's the Flying Flea that we talked about several times in the podcast as being a prototype concept, what have you. It's going to be launched in a regular and a scrambler variety. So you can get it scrambler-fied and you can get it not scrambler-fied. With electric bikes, we always have to take the specs with a bit of a grain of salt. And the reason for that is everybody thinks, okay, it's an electric bike, so we have to say that it goes 100 miles on a charge, and we have to say that it goes at least 60 miles an hour, right? And I think they've done a good job here. The bike is handsome. I mean, the Scrambler version is very cute. I bet you Steve Hoffert would not like the Scrambler version. He would like the non-Scrambler version.
You got it over there?
The base one. I'm sure I can find a picture of it real quick. But the reason I'm laughing is because when I look at how much battery they're giving it, and when I look at how much range they're claiming, that those numbers just don't work well together. They're extremely dubious. And so I'm curious only that I think that they can't live up to that. There's the Frying Free. There's the Frying Free in its street livery, which we're like because the front end is so interesting, right? The front end's cool looking. It's pretty neat.
I think Robot's here.
Oh, is Robot here?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Hey, cool.
Let me see if we can
get him. See if we can get him in.
Oh, we do. We got him. We got a robot. Hold on.
We have
an audio.
We can hear you, Robot.
There he is. Look at that guy.
Hey, I know that guy. So
How do you know me? I don't know.
Tonight is a very special guest. We got Jeff Corsaro, aka Robot, from San Diego. And what some of you might know is I just spent a lovely, long weekend down in Cancun. And while I was down there, the Jalisco cartel decided to burn Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta, which, by the way, those two things are not next to each other. If you're familiar with maps, Puerto Vallarta is on the west coast, and Guadalajara is kind of an hour or so inland from there, hour and a half inland from there. But the fallout was pretty big. And Jeff is the person that introduced me to riding motorcycles in Mexico. So, Jeff, when was the first time you rode a motorcycle in Mexico?
Probably 2000. No, maybe even the 90s. But the first time I went to Mexico, real Mexico, not Baja, like Tijuana, to the strip clubs and the taquerias and beers when you're 18 years old. That was the 90s, but it was 2015 when I started doing legitimate trips, including the Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, on a Vespa. So,
and we've got a trip coming up. So in 2 months, we're going to be going to Guadalajara to join the Vespa Club of Mexico to do their national rally, and it's going to be right in the smack dab in the middle of Guadalajara. So that's going to be interesting. And we've already had people calling me and telling me that I'm dumb and I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it because I love Mexico. So Jeff, you live in San Diego, so you do go to Mexico for tacos.
Hey, before you answer that, can you also, there's a lot of people online and people listening that might not know who Jeff is. We all do. But Jeff, what do you do and who are you and where are you from?
Well, I'm from San Diego. I've been here quite a long time. I work for Vespa Motorsport, mostly do mail order parts for the Vespa scooter, and kind of run the service department. I do a bunch of other stuff, but I'm a big motorhead anyways, but
and you got yourself
I have several Triumphs and dirt bikes, all sorts of other fun stuff, and a lot of Vespas.
And you got a pretty successful YouTube channel as well.
Oh yeah, kind of forgot about that.
I kind of forgot.
So what? 600,000 subscribers to watch.
Yeah, only 1,000 videos later.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, he's got more subscribers than we do.
You type the word Vespa in Google, my name comes up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You kind of skipped over some of those little important things. So you're kind of the guy. So all right, I'm stepping back out, but I wanted to make sure people knew who we were dealing with here. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely true too. And I've known Jeff for quite a long time. We've been hanging out in the scooter community for a really, really long time together, and I've always considered Scooter West, motorsport scooters in San Diego, to be kind of like our sister shop, right? I feel like
absolutely.
I feel like they're always welcome to come and visit me, but I'm probably going to visit them more. Location. I've known Jeff. I've sold a whole bunch of motorcycles out of Jeff's.
That's classic. That's the most classic story.
I sold about 14 motorcycles out of Jeff's backyard.
Nice.
So Jeff was nice enough.
While I went to work every day for the week, he had a motorcycle. I used a motorcycle dealership out of my house.
Look,
them off to those Californians that pay big money.
It's so true. I had all these Cleveland Cafe Racers that are really nice bikes that only have 3,000, 4,000 miles on them, but nobody in Cleveland has any money to spend. So I was like, it's wintertime, it's cold. I'm just going to take these where the money is. And we loaded them up. Emmy and I loaded them up in a truck and trailer. We took them to Jeff's house. And Jeff had just gotten a new house. So he was the only person I knew in San Diego that had a yard. And Jeff has a big yard. Like, Jeff's backyard is a legit backyard.
That's something for San Diego.
It is. And Jeff was nice enough to let us camp out on the couch in the front room. And because of Jeff now, I have a bidet.
Well,
That's a
not too much information there.
From the owner of the Vespa shop that has visited Japan a lot of times. Before people were getting their asses squirt here in America. He brought one back.
Changed my whole world, man. But so the funny thing was, I'm selling all these bikes, and so I set up a store in his backyard, and we had people coming and doing test rides and the whole thing, and we're dialing the bikes in, but Jeff couldn't resist the deals. So like, Jeff's getting high on his own supply. So which two bikes did you buy from me on that sale?
It was like Emmy's CB400 F, the little super sport, has gear driven cams. I had fun with that. I actually recently sold that bike. Yeah, CB1. That's CB1. What it is. Yeah, not the 70s 400F. And then the RD350.
Yeah. So I was just funny that, like, Jeff's like, hey, before you sell those, I'm kind of curious about those. And that was the worst mistake you could make, was being like, that CB1's pretty tasty. And so that was pretty good. But it was funny because I had that CB1 I've had in my collection for a long time. It had the wrong colored gas tank.
A red one. Never had red ones here.
And somebody painted the gas tank to be like the Japanese market. And then instead of putting decals on it, they hand striped the CB1 on the side. Wow. It looked really good. Cool. But so there's been some cross pollination with Jeff and I. That's for sure. Now, the first time that I went down to Mexico with you guys, we met up with the guys on the TJ side. Was that in a Sam's Club parking lot or something?
Yeah, it was a Costco parking lot. Not the Costco they just burned down, the cartel, literally 4 days ago. But there's a Costco in Tijuana that you just cross the border and you kind of get dumped right into that parking lot pretty much. And just for your info, the U.S. Costco membership works there. Oh. And they have tequila sampling there. That's something new.
Wow. That is, and again, this is why I travel with Jeff. He knows all the good shit. So now you've been motorcycle camping down in Mexico, right?
Uh-huh.
You've done that. And then Renee told me today, Renee was like, you make sure that you don't let Jeff get off that call until he tells you the story of how he saved 2 people's lives in Mexico.
Oh yeah, that was well, if anybody knows about Europe in general or Italians especially, they take the whole entire month of August off. So 2 Vespa fans from Italy, I think one of them was from Monza, the other one was from Milan or some suburb of Milan. They built these like really nice Vespa P200s for off-road, and they shipped them to San Francisco. I think they shipped them to First Kick, like Barry Gwynn's shop up there, and rode them down the coast. They end up in San Diego. We hung out with them, of course, got drunk with them and all that kind of fun stuff. And they were saying their plans, like, oh, we want to do the Baja 1000 course. If anybody knows about the Baja Peninsula, it's pretty much like a big desert. Most of it. I mean, there's a lot of nice coastline and all that, but it's a lot of desert. And Baja 1000 isn't run in August; it's run in November, so when it's much cooler. So they started off. They prepped their bikes a little bit more and like set up like this cone on the back that had like 3 spare tires, because you need 3 to 4, maybe 5 spare tires with a 10-inch tire if you're going to off-road it. And left on the trip, and I just happened to give him my phone number. Say, hey, you might want to have my phone number. And then this is, what year would this be? Like
that was 2022, I think.
No, it was way before that.
Oh, was it way before that?
Yeah. 2009, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
I was thinking about the guys that did the Nora ride.
Yeah, that was 22.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. And so they went off on their adventure, kind of had their whole plotted course of following the Baja 1000 course off-road with those 2 Vespas. They end up where San Felipe is, where it's pretty hot. You're already in the pretty arid area where it's like there's the salt flat and the mountains dividing like the west and the east of Baja. It's not that wide of a peninsula, but eventually I got a call from one of them that like walked all through the night, like walked 20 miles because both their scooters were completely broken. I think they just had no more tires. They were stuck in the rocks and they had no water in the heat. So got a call, and they didn't speak that great of English, but they said, well, we kind of need help, but we don't know who to ask for. And at the time, I had like a Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive, like a 96 Toyota that I've always been into off-road stuff. And it was a little bit lifted on 31s. That's not that exciting nowadays.
Perfect.
I said, sure, I'll go down there. Took me all day to get to them.
And how did you find them? Like, how did they actually tell you what their location was?
Well, the one guy walked through the night, and he ended up in this little town called Valle de Trinidad, and it's like on it's the closest road, and it's like quite a country road that goes in between San Felipe and Ensenada. So they weren't too far south, fortunately. And oops, lost my light. But they kind of gave me whatever convenience store stop that they, like little Oxxo, which is like the equivalent of 7-Eleven down in Mexico, all of Mexico. And the one guy was there waiting, but he hasn't seen his friend for like, by the time I showed up, 24 hours.
Whoa.
So he left his other friend out there, with no water, which is a bad situation. So I just off-roaded with him. I remember we cut a fence to go through some rancher's property, and I don't speak that good of Spanish. I'm like, this is great. I'm like trespassing in a foreign country in my truck. To get to, and I knew how to navigate. I had a Baja Almanac and a GPS. I kind of from other off-road adventures in Mexico, and got to the other guy, and he's like laid out, exhausted, completely dehydrated. He was eating like the purple cactus and vomiting all around.
Oh
the
god,
area. The poor guy. I mean, he's like,
was he happy at least though? Was he like, yeah, what's up, dude?
Oh, he was happy that somebody came, and he was they were like so distraught when I showed up. They're like, let's just leave the scooters and let's go back home. I said, no, let's just sit here and think about it. I said, if we leave the scooters, they'll never, somebody's going to come across them. They're, you'll never get them back. So we threw them in the truck. And I said, I really I'm not driving all this off-road through the night to get back to the road. So I just camped in my truck, and we brought water and all that stuff. And then in the morning, we headed back to Ensenada, and the one guy kind of recovered from his dehydration, and we stopped in Ensenada. I was like, what are we doing? We going back to U.S.? Or they're like, no, we want to still do our trip. They kind of like recovered enough. I said, well, how about you just stay on the paved roads?
Yeah.
So I dropped them off at a hotel and somehow got them tires, like 2 more tires, and helped them fix the bike and all that stuff in Mexico. And then I went back across and back to work, 48 hours later, whatever it was.
But I mean, so they're not, if you draw a line between San Felipe and, you're looking, in that part of the world, if you're looking down like, El Bufador or somewhere, that's, the Baja is only probably 130 miles wide there. Right? So it's not that far. But even though it's not that far, it's your ass. Yeah,
it's your ass, and it's a rugged terrain.
Yeah, and
there's not that many roads in Baja. There's like the Transpeninsular that goes up and down, and only a couple of roads that go side to side.
Yeah,
especially ones that are paved.
Were you impressed with how far they actually made it though on the scooters?
I think they didn't make as much progress as I thought. I'm happy they didn't go further south, because I might have said I can't. I don't know if I could handle like driving 700 miles to go get to them. I could, whatever. I drove 250 miles. I don't remember.
Yeah,
exactly
so they were a lot further south than like San Felipe or anything.
Yeah, well, they were in a real rugged area.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be easier to drive to San Felipe because you can drive a regular road. And I have ridden Vespas and my motorcycles down there, and that sort of stuff. Baja de Los Angeles, which is a little further south, a little fishing village. So, but.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about, last year we went down to La Paz, and how cool that was, and how it's a different experience in La Paz than it is in Ensenada or in, you're looking at Cabo, that's all touristed up.
Actually, between Ensenada's a relatively big city for the peninsula. I think it's the biggest city on the peninsula. And then La Paz is like being in Cancun or something. It's fully developed as a resort town.
It is.
But everything in between there is
nothing.
Villages.
Yeah.
A few
little villages. I mean, there's
a few missions.
Real small little towns. I mean, there's, if you're wondering what Costco's, I know all the Costco's that are in Baja. There's one in Tijuana, there's one in Mexicali, there's one in Cabo, and there's one in La Paz. So that's how many big cities are in the Baja Peninsula.
That's 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom,
right.
Nothing in between.
Nothing in between. So.
And so you think, because Pete's been down there, and Pete's run the border. So Pete, you ran the border across Texas, right?
No, we went in. We came down from Vegas. We shipped down from Vegas, and then we went into Mexicali. And then we went over to Ensenada. So we were like crisscrossing our way back and forth from coast to coast, over the mountains and through the deserts, and then
just using as much of the Baja as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And there's some high elevation mountain ranges in the middle of it. I mean, they get snow down there,
and that's kind of what I was going to talk to you guys about.
I never would have guessed that there was snow in Mexico, but I guess if they have the altitude,
well, that's where they make it, dude.
But like, no, that's going to the south. That's Colombia.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, they have a really high peak in Baja, like the Picacho del Diablo, like the Devil's Peak.
Yeah, Devil's Peak.
I think it's like it is like 10,000 feet or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
but then there's also like huge, like just sand washes, and there's huge salt pans, and coastal areas and rocky areas. It is really just a spectacular like terrain.
I think that's what, when we talk about traveling in Mexico, and it's funny because so much of the motorcycle people always gravitate towards Baja California, right? We all do. It's great. What's not to love? If you're a surfer or a motorcycle guy, everything you'll want, Baja can deliver, right? It's just... Yeah,
and it's easy for an American to travel there. Mexico, like mainland Mexico, is much more difficult. You need special permits and that sort of stuff. The ride around Guadalajara, Mexico City, foreign plates. And so that, and you could use U.S. dollars a lot of places in Baja still.
The food is spectacular.
Yeah, food's pretty excellent.
If you like seafood.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the whole trip, 4 days in Cancun. I did not eat anything that wasn't seafood, and I didn't drink anything that wasn't tequila.
So when are we going to the Baja 1000?
I'm a fan of going back to Cabo. So
I think that sounds like bad timing going when the Baja 1000.
Well, I think that, so, on a couple of trips that I was with Jeff, San Felipe is absolutely ground zero, right? And we're traveling along on, I think the one group, we probably had 20 scooters, and we're ripping through, and some group of pre-runners, some group of trophy trucks decided they need to cross over the road that we were on. And they crossed over the road that we were on with these 500 plus horsepower vehicles, like that road wasn't even there. And I think they just we were parallel to their course of action on the dirt, but at some point they just decided it was time to cross. And when they did, I about shit a golden brick. One, I'm not on my bike. I'm on a borrowed bike, which, our friends are always very generous giving us bikes to ride. But when you see a trophy truck clear a 2-lane asphalt like it's not there, it's pretty spectacular. What was that? What was going on then? Do you have any idea, Jeff, what was happening?
There's a lot of smaller races too. There's Baja 250, Baja 500. There's the whole Nora series, which is more of a they are still point to point, but you can have teams like the Score Baja 1000. It's going to be one driver the whole course. The whole around 1,000-mile course. They change up the course quite a bit, but there's a couple different series that they run down there. There's just a lot of a lot of people, Mexican Americans, and even Americans that go down there and bring their side-by-sides and other badass off-road toys down there.
So Jeff, Renee just chimed in on the chat. Renee says, "Hey, Jeff."
Hey.
So that Renee is absolutely one of Jeff's biggest fans. So and there's definitely a thing at our shop where if you work in a motorcycle shop, if you work in a scooter shop for any period of time whatsoever, the first time a customer comes in and says, "Well, according to Robot, I need to do this to my bike." And we should have a bell that rings at the shop. Renee should have a bell. She rings every time some dude comes in and goes, "Well, according to Robot." Then we just ding, just give it the little chime of the bell.
So you got the good information.
Yeah, right. So you're getting the good stuff.
You got the good information.
And we do have the pins that say like YouTube certified Vespa mechanic.
Yeah.
And that's all because of this guy, right?
Yeah.
And it is. He is our owner's manual for a lot of our customers out in the field, for sure. So when you're planning for a trip and you're going to be going into Mexico, and this is for Pete too, what are the critical items? Because obviously you can survive Mexico. It's not dangerous. You're more likely to dehydrate than you are to get shot. Even when they don't
really mess with tour. I mean, if I go driving down there with a nice F-150 trimmer that just looks all badass, it's probably, that's you kind of grab some attention. Then you might have somebody want to hold you up and take that truck. Or
if you have machine gun barrels. Mounted to your vehicle.
Motorcycles, they don't really mess with that much. I don't really hear about it. I think that's more once you get into Guatemala and stuff like that. That there's more of that like kind of petty. I think the organized crime in Mexico doesn't really look for motorcyclists. From what I hear, I don't ever hear. I'm sure there are stories out there. There's.
I think there's
some surfers that got murdered.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's the most recent one. That was a pretty big news. And that was. I don't know, a couple of years ago, but there's not much that happens with the motorcyclists from what I hear.
Also,
getting injured down there is not a good thing. I can tell you that because I did crash a KTM 525 years ago and I knocked myself. I didn't even know I owned a house. Unfortunately, I was with friends and didn't break any bones. That's all. It kind of like woke me up like maybe I shouldn't be on the beach riding as fast as this motorcycle can go with my buddies that are, that do actually have raced the Baja 500 and stuff like that.
Did you go to the hospital? Did you go to Red Cross?
No, it was in, we were in San Felipe, but they had like a local doctor come to the party at night And I wanted to drink beer, but no one would let me drink beer. I remember that. When I was kind of snapping out of my concussion. Then I looked at a bike. I was pretty bummed out because both rims were tacoed, tires were blowing, and a radiator was smashed in. I was like, what did I do to the bike? And then my helmet was smashed too. Like the fiberglass was broken. I'm like, oh yeah, no wonder why.
Yeah, it's a pretty good crash, right. Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to watch a guy eat shit on gravel on a tuned bike, and that guy that was in the Faroes from he was kind of, his mouth was writing some checks his body couldn't cash, and then he decided he was going to go out and do some drag racing on the gravel. And I don't even think he owned that bike. That wasn't his bike, was it? Was that Pistol Pete's bike?
Yeah, I was like, I think it was Pistol Pete. It was that Utah. It was a Utah kid. I remember that.
Yeah, and this guy,
crazy Utah scooter peoples.
Yeah, he basically landed on his face for about 65 feet, and he took off like his nose. And you guys did a good job. You got him down to the Red Cross.
Yeah, it was a Red Cross. They made him look like a mummy.
Oh, yeah. It was full on. His hands and his face were just wrapped in white tape.
Was his nose ground down?
His nose was flat.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a bad scene. Oh. But I think that settled him down a little bit.
Yeah, that'll take the wind out of your sails.
Make you breathe better.
Yeah, it was something, though. But I thought he got very nice medical care down in Mexico. I can't tell you he would have gotten put back together and got back to the party as quick as he did in the United States.
Did they scrub the wounds with tequila?
I don't know. I do recall it wasn't that expensive. Everything medical in the United States, if you pay out pockets, like you might as well just empty a savings account. But down there, a few $100 probably is all you had to pay for a couple hours of getting mummified or whatever it was.
And he came out with great tits. Got a huge upgrade.
That was free on Tuesday.
Right. So I want to get one free.
How they do. So now, because this is obviously, we're talking about this because it's in the news, because the cartels, they got hit and then they went apeshit and burned a bunch of stuff, right? It seems that they're putting a lot of their energy was into burning gas stations, which I think there might be a petrochemical relationship to this hit.
Yeah, a lot of the narco stuff is actually like stealing petroleum, oil, and gas pipelines, tapping into them.
Which I did not know.
Story. Yeah.
Yeah, that's news to me. That was when I learned that recently. I was very surprised. I was like, why the hell are they burning down really perfectly good gas stations? And so there's a little bit of resentment there, I guess. So do you feel like, for you, a guy that lives right on the, you live so close to Mexico, is this going to change your outlook on traveling in Mexico?
Not really. There's a little spark up, but it's, I would be probably terrified if I was in the Guadalajara airport and, you see all those people running around with the uncertainty, but fortunately I have people I know. The worst thing I got to do is stay longer. And they're huge cities. It's like and there's a lot of expats even in that, some of the towns of Guadalajara, like those are expatriate Americans, retired Americans that want to live in Mexico. And I don't know, it's like the media, reports every single thing, every car and gas station that was burning. But in many ways, there's lots of huge cities in Mexico that are, most of it's peace and quiet. And I feel for a lot of the people just trying to earn like an honest living and live down there that have like the narco kind of, terrorize them. And it is a little scary, like, knowing that they have almost as much power as the military that's down there.
Sure.
I mean, odds are there's probably a car and a gas station burning somewhere here in Cleveland as we speak.
Statistically, yeah, I would say there's probably one burning right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I could go into Tijuana probably in some areas that I could get screwed around with, and I just don't go in those areas, So,
Yeah, we feel the same way about Detroit.
Yeah.
We feel the same way about New Orleans. Like, we know there's spots you don't go if you don't want to get screwed with. Right?
I 100% guarantee that Gary, Indiana is more deadly than any place in Mexico.
Well, there was a time when New Orleans ranked up there with Caracas as the most dangerous cities in America, and here's me driving through the Hoffman Triangle with the top down.
Right. So now the question for both for Pete and for Jeff, the question would be: is there a part of Mexico that if there was a trip going there, that you just like, nah, that's not a cool spot, I'm not going?
You got to watch in Michoacan and Sinaloa. You know, there's a lot of like mountain roads, and they do really. There's like even just smaller. It's not even the bigger like cartel stuff, but smaller. They'll set up illegal checkpoints and shake you down. You know, and I hear that really does happen, and I don't know.
As opposed to legitimate cartel checkpoints.
Yeah,
that
like.
You know, they went through my motorcycle bag, and they were kind of like my tank bag, and they took a look through it, and they were like, okay, cool, haul ass, get out of here.
A lot of times they don't want the media coverage of like screwing with an American tourist.
And that's what happened. That's what happened with those surfers a couple years ago, where the surfers got ripped off by some low-level thugs, and the cartel, the people that did it actually got delivered to the cartels. Because the cartels didn't want the...
They don't want the heat.
Yeah, the high-level stuff, they don't want to screw with tourists. But the low-level, petty, thugs, that's more of a danger, I think, for being on a motorcycle down there as a tourist. So...
Yep. Itchy Boots on one of her trips, she was shaken down by some police officers, and she shot video. She had all the cameras running on her rig, and that went viral, and those two cops got extraordinarily fired. That shook her down because they don't want that heat. They don't want the pressure on them. So yeah, that's interesting. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was like, Sinaloa seems the place where I just don't need to be. If somebody said they were taking the world's greatest motorcycle trip down there, I probably wouldn't go. But I can tell you, I'm not at all concerned about going to Guadalajara. I'm not, not concerned about that at all.
Guadalajara is a really big city, and there's a whole tourist area with people from all sorts of nationalities. I mean, you could do double-decker buses. The driving down there is a little chaotic, like big cities. Even Mexico City's very similar to that. You're like, these are massive cities. Mexico City is one of the biggest cities in the world. And the nice thing about Guadalajara, there is like more touristy stuff to go to, like tequila.
Yeah, got to go to tequila, man. They got a whole train. Lake Chapala. It's a beautiful lake up in the mountains, not that far outskirts, and I don't know, this every type of cuisine. If you want to go to a rich neighborhood with a rich mall, there's that, and there's like the street food, like the tortas ahogadas, which is like a torta sandwich, kind of a Mexican sandwich that's really good, and they're famous for in Guadalajara. And the people are just really friendly there. That's what I've kind of found. I've been to like Acapulco, and you had people kind of giving you bad looks. It was just, I don't know. I'm not saying it's just something I kind of felt when I was in that town, versus Guadalajara. I've had a lot of real positive experiences riding around, and either with people in the club that know us or just the strangers that want to like talk with me, even though my Spanish is pretty broken and poor, wondering where I'm from. So, well, what I thought was funny is I was fully ready to rent a ClevelandMoto 450, which was a bike that I was able to rent down there pretty easily for an Ibex. And Bailey and Stina were like, no. We've got friends. We got friends down there that can get us a bike. And I was like, no, I don't want to put anybody out. I'll just rent the Ibex 450, the dirt bike, and Merrick and I can go two up on it real easy. And I thought it was great that Stina and Steve's friends were just like, no, man, you're at our scooter rally. We want you to have the experience. We're going to give you Vespas. We're going to give you a bike to ride. We're going to give you a Vespa to ride. And I thought that was so nice of them. I'm not a person, they don't know me, right? They know Steve and Stina, but they've never met me. And the fact that they're so generous that I have the money, I can afford to rent an Ibex for the 4 or 5 days we're down there. It's no big deal. But they wanted me to have part of the experience, so they're making sure I've got a Vespa to ride. And I got to say, like, that's the hospitality that I've got from the day that I met, like, Pancho and Mimi and our friends. They've always been super, super nice. Like, everybody I've met in Mexico has bent over backwards to make sure I'm having a good time. And I can't say...
I've always noticed that they always want to do that. They want to throw the biggest parties, and host like excellent food, and of course, more drinking than you ever need.
So what happened to Oscar? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. He got an engineering degree is what happened. He saw the money. Sorry, Oscar.
I'm sure he's in the chat. What I think is just the very much the nice factor.
Kurt Edwards.
The nice factor of Mexico, the people that I've met, every single time I've met a Mexican person, no matter where I've been, they're so damn generous, and to the point where at first I was like, I think this guy's trying to play me. I think this guy's trying to rip me off or something. And I'm like, no, these people are just that freaking warm. They're just that nice. And I can tell you, traveling all around Europe, very rarely do you get that same experience. I've been to Switzerland. People were just pricks. I've been in Austria where the people were just fucking pricks, and they were just angry at me for being on a motorcycle in their city or in their town or in their village. Whereas in Mexico, everybody's always been like, well, no, don't eat that. Come over here and try this thing over here. It's better. Trust me. And it's always better.
Yeah.
It's never not better. It's always, if a Mexican person recommends you do something, I strongly recommend you do it because they're usually right. They're usually out for you having a good time. Yeah, it's great, man. I can't get enough of the place. So for people to think that they're scared of it, I think that's a waste, especially over this.
I second the motion.
Yeah. I would go back there anytime. Every time I talk to Jeff about anything in Mexico, it always turns into like, yeah, we're going to put that on a list. That's, we got to get down there and do that. What do you think? What's your perfect bike for running down through Baja?
Perfect bike, or what my dream bike would be is someday I want to go to literally at the grocery stores down there. There's the Mexican Chinese brand called Italica. I just want to go to the grocery store and buy the little 150 motorcycle. It's a pizza delivery kind of bike.
Yeah, it's like $800.
XR. Yeah, $800, and just go ride it and fix it along the way.
That's a great idea.
Really, like I've ridden my like adventure bikes, like my 800 BMW GS and most recently my Tiger 900 down there, and I don't have much desire. Like I don't need to be motoring 85 mile an hour on the roads. I don't know. It's just it really is a little slower pace of travel down there, and so it's like I'm always content on the small bikes down there. It is nice sometimes. There are like the equivalent of toll roads and interstates where you could do like I don't know. Still the traffic flow is a little different in Mexico where there's some people doing 75, and then you got like a Nissan hard body pickup from 1985 with two cows in the back doing 35 on that same road. So, and they seem to like get it more, and that's just kind of a lot of third world countries. They're you can have like a little more chaos in the traffic pattern, and it all works out. And even people are like more friendly about passing and all that stuff, unlike here in California where somebody, you pass in the right lane on a 5-lane highway at about 85, 90,
I've noticed that all of your friends, when I was down there the last trip, every single person we're riding with, right? We're talking about like Stina's riding a 150cc Vespa that robot probably had something to do with the fact that bike goes 70 and it shouldn't, right?
They had a cylinder kit. I recall. 183 on it or something.
That's definitely a throw kit on that bitch. And they're riding around, and these folks are going around corners, and they'll be like a topaz, a big old speed bump in the middle of the corner, or those stupid yellow nail things.
Yeah.
Damn, these things. They're about 6-7 inches in diameter and about 3 inches tall.
It's like a steel ball.
It is. It's like a steel ball.
Those are excellent to go over when it's wet.
And it's not like there's one of them. There's like 600 of them. And the fact that everybody down there can ride so well, everybody's a talented rider. And I get down there and I'm just like, man, I'm just killing it here. I'm just doing this better than anybody's ever done it. And next thing I know, I'm getting passed by a girl on a 150 wearing flip-flops, right? And yeah, people are very skilled riders there. It's just because that's their life. They know what they're doing. Yeah, it's super cool.
And you got to do some off-road down there. I mean, even on a street bike, like say the Trans-Peninsula are going down all the way. You want to go to La Paz or Cabo on a motorcycle. There is going to be some section of that road they're going to be working on, and it's not like a nice little bypass with like where they let, a signal, like half the people stay on the paved. They just like, oh, well, we'll just make everybody go off road for 10 miles sometimes. Literally like, oh, the road's gone for 10 miles.
There's places too where like the bridges were blown out completely. So you have to ride down through like the dry riverbed. And it gets a foot of sand down there, it's silt. And you ride the riverbed until you get past the blown out bridge. Then you go back up on the road. Yeah.
So it's like, if you think, I don't want to, you could ride all the way down there just on pavement, which generally it's the roads aren't that bad, but when they do construction or something, they just like, they're perfectly fine with just knocking the whole road out. So you're going to be off-roading. So
I love the idea of going down there and buying a motorcycle in the grocery store and riding it back.
That's cheaper than renting a motorcycle. So if you bought the motorcycle for $800 and you rode it for 2 to 3 weeks or whatever, and then you just left it beside the road.
Just give it to somebody.
Give it to
No, you bring it. Yeah. You
the old joke
it.
is literally leave the keys and the title in the glove box and walk away.
Well, what were you going to say, Jeff?
You cross it. Just FYI, I have the very last year. It's a Vespa PX 150, which is the last shifting Vespa. The very last year that Piaggio in Italy made those was in 2017. I bought one through Guadalajara, and then I had it shipped to Tijuana, and a lot of people think, the border is so strict. You're going to have to pay like tariffs or duties on crossing things. All they care about is the human factor, like the human smuggling. And literally, I just put a battery in the thing, put some gas at the local Paymax after I picked it up from the truck stop or whatever that I had delivered to, and just rode it across.
And they didn't give you any static about it.
Yeah, I essentially rode an illegal gray or black market.
Yeah, it's a black market
Vespa
bike
into San Diego.
So what you're saying is that
allegedly.
Yeah, so I do the same with the pizza delivery bike. I do that. I just say, okay, I need to go back. I'm not walking across the border and bail out and bring this thing back. Right. They just don't even look at the vehicle. They don't really care.
Yeah.
It's funny going into Mexico. I've had like expired tags and they turn me around.
Every time I've ridden into Mexico, they said I wasn't going fast enough.
Yeah. So going into Mexico, they're concerned with what you're bringing in, but they don't care about the people going in. Right. But vice versa, going into the U.S., they don't care, what you're bringing in, as long as you're not bringing tons of booze, drugs, which I'm sure plenty get smuggled through, any contraband. But the vehicle and, bring in some furniture you bought that was handmade, somewhere in Mexico, they really don't care about that.
Which, I mean, that's crazy because the idea of going into a grocery store and buying a bike, right? And then just using that as your trip up. So for the sake of it, I just went real quick online and to get the fanciest dirt bike that Italica sells that is under 200 cc's, that is going to set you back a whopping $1,600. So for $1,600, you're buying their pride of the fleet, the Doble Proposito, which I think just means 2 seats, right? The DM150, the Italica DM150. It's a pretty handsome motorcycle for being, under for a $1,600 machine. That's kind of cool. And we know that you can buy a lot cheaper because last time when we were in La Paz, we went into a grocery store and they had a 125cc bike for $800.
Yeah, there's like Vento. There's other ones. And the way Mexico works with, like in the United States, we just have imported Chinese motorcycles and scooters. Mm-hmm. In Mexico, a lot of the components, like maybe the whole engine was, it's like whatever, off the shelf engine. Mm-hmm. But those bikes are actually assembled in Mexico because that's how they, so it employs people, in Mexico. And that's how they avoid like the high tariffs or duties, of an imported vehicle into Mexico. Like a Vespa is really expensive in Mexico.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Because it's imported. And
well, I think that idea of an adventure has got absolute legs underneath it because you get down there, pick up a 125cc bike and make the trip, fly in, ride out.
Well, you remember on Round Way Long or Long, whatever it was, the cameraman had more fun on his little bike than he bought his little big one,
AK-47 Russian bike, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I always remember that. They're all like hating on those,
on a giant GS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be an absolute
broken frames and ABS pumps were out or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm
Actually,
down with that.
out of all those, the one that pisses me off the most is that last one that they did with the live wire.
Yes.
The Rivian truck was pretty cool. But, but I was like, I didn't like that one because they kind of like put a negative stance, like we're not going to ride through Mexico. It was so
well, they were like, they
Pissed me
bought a
off.
bus and they bought the bus and they armored the bus.
Yeah,
like,
it was just so fake.
Like
you
they're
know, it's
driving through gunfire and shit. And meanwhile, I'm like, are you got to be kidding me, guys?
Yeah.
The time they took to armor out this bus, they would have been through the country already.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mexico's, they were playing it off like Mexico was the most dangerous part of their trip. They rode through Los Angeles. Like,
and it's not like he does it. Your bikes that you bought from him were not armored. Just saying.
Oh, man. I did discover there is a motorcycle that they do sell down there that it'd be impossible for Meckelfresh to not own one. You can throw the picture up real quick. This is the Meckelfresh transportation system. This is basically a Honda Trail 125,
for all the damn cameras.
but it is
Right,
it
I
is
know.
so beefed up.
It's like
The Motocicleta di Trabajo Italica AT135X Verde.
it's like Pete's
it's so
Cub,
nice.
but like on steroids.
Oh yeah, it's a chunky cub.
Yeah.
it's a cub with real wheel travel.
I like what I can see of it.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
I have looked at the XR 150L, the Honda XR, which they do sell in North America, and by the time it gets to US, it's like $1,500 more. But I've seen it in Mexico, and that bike I think sold in the United States is the one that's made in Mexico.
Of course it is.
Look at the Yamaha WR125.
But that bike that you just showed, Phil, I saw that on
Liquid gold.
Alibaba for $600. I'm just telling you right now.
You know, Phil.
One of the things they said about that XR150L is like the frame is so it's
Squishy.
It's squishy. Like you can hold the front, like if you hold the front, hold the handlebars from the front and give it like a shake, you can feel like just how squibbly it is.
Yeah, there's
compared to the
nothing
Yamaha.
XR about that. It's just a pizza delivery bike with wolf's clothes. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, I think it's identical to CB 150.
Yeah.
You're
down there.
holding out on Sleepy.
But that 125 by Yamaha, it's like a really good frame, a really good bike.
Yeah,
really
it
good
kind
suspension.
of got like legit forks on it.
Yeah.
I've watched a couple of reviews, and it's kind of like techie. It's got like VTEC on it. It's not a Honda, but it's got
does.
some type of variable valve timing thing on it.
Do they have tuk-tuks in Mexico?
Yeah, they do actually. I think Steve. You can ask Steve Bailey.
Do
He
they sell
bought one.
TVS?
Yeah, I think it is the TVS ones,
Okay.
and yeah, and I've seen some of the there's some other ones that are made in South America, you know, that are pretty much like the Ape or the Porter or whatever.
Yeah, my buddy
Italian
up in
ones.
Escondido has one. An 08 one.
And is it a TVS brand?
I don't remember what
Yeah.
brand it was, actually.
It seems to be.
He brought it up from Mexico. It still has Mexican plates on it, and he has to take it back like once a year or something for like licensing requirements. Or,
Oh, so we can keep his plates?
yeah, he keeps it out with Mexican registration, but in San Diego.
Oh.
Or Escondido.
Poncho has a PX 150 like that with a big Mexican plate on it, and then he got pissed at registering in Mexico because they said you're using it for commercial use because everybody that has a 150cc is delivering pizzas with it. And he says, no, I don't do that.
Moto Smith from the chat says, I'd do some greasy back alley shit to get a Baja tuk-tuk up to Canada.
Oh, really? Careful what you ask for.
Yeah, no, that's
I got a shaved ice machine in my hallway right now.
Yeah, I know.
That's got a Bajaj tuk-tuk strapped to it. It's a really nice shaved ice machine. Unfortunately, it's strapped to a Bajaj rickshaw.
Oh, that's that thing in your...
World's greatest shaved ice machine.
thing's
Unfortunately, it's hooked to a Bajaj.
Yeah.
See, you're holding on Sleepy though. You didn't give him the T250X,
The T250X.
the Italica T250X.
Oh, I might have. Okay. All right. Let me find out it.
Since we're talking about doing the Baja.
Right. I was trying to keep it pricey. I was trying to keep the price somewhat reasonable. No, that's the Morbidelli.
Morbidelli.
Yeah, that's the Morbidelli. So that's like, you know, now we're getting into a bike that costs $4,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
it better have
there?
a gear change
Where is it at?
indicator on it.
Yeah.
So, usually they get a little higher in. You're like, whoa, that 150's got like
Yeah.
a little display. It tells you what
Is
gear
it on?
you're in.
Is it up?
Oh, yeah, it's up right now. Yeah, the Morbidelli, that's the trick is, you know, the Morbidelli is... It's basically the Moto Marini 250, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those. Yeah, it's one of those bikes that, It's what but you're talking about 59,000 pesos, right? So, but you can get on sale right now for 49,000 pesos. So, and right now we're taking a little beating. I'm very much at that 20. I like the 20-to-1 ratio.
Well, when
with pesos,
when Felipe,
that's about a pretty close number. Yeah,
and right now it's about 15.
When Senor Aguas has to be told pay in pesos, not in dollars, it's bad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm always interested. Yeah, I'm always interested in paying in pesos, and now at 15-to-1, it's not such a great deal.
Yeah, and I know sometimes you 21, it goes a long way because a taco costs like 20.
Yeah,
but they've gone up to 25 or 30 pesos, but still, come on.
Yeah, come on.
It's 20-to-1. You're
20-to-1, man.
Taco.
A buck of taco is just a good day.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I just went for tacos on my lunch break here at Karina's, and they only employ like females there, and you can look up Karina's in San Diego. It's kind of like the Hooters.
It's Hooters of tacos.
I was gonna say, the last time I paid a buck a taco, they came with gun holes.
So,
whoa,
$6 a taco.
Bullet holes.
$6 for tripa.
They clean that up off the floor. Oh my God.
Linga up to 7. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on. That's fancy pants. Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
I went to the to-go window, and the tip, like the tip thing, it started 18%. I'm like, no tip. I can put $2 in the little jar cash. I was like, wow, they're asking for 18 to 25% tip for a takeout.
Hey man, those chichis don't come for free, baby.
Yeah.
It's the American way. They've learned.
So, Robot, when you're doing your videos, what's your favorite ones that you do? Is it the tech tips? What are the ones that you actually enjoy doing?
I don't know, when they go really smooth and they're like one take wonders, as I like to say. I don't know, when I'm really into something, sometimes it could be like something stupid. Like I just rebuilt the Vespa ET4 fork, which is like a 22 or 20.
It's a 25-year-old bike.
Yeah, 30-year-old bike now because it came out in 1996. Yeah. And I rebuilt the fork and made it look all perfect. I just had fun doing that, like refurbishing that part. And then I did really videos that didn't get much traction that were over 10 years ago now, where the first Mexico series, we did videos of us riding around in Mexico. So if you go to the Vespa Motorsport YouTube channel and just type the word Mexico on the Vespa Motorsport YouTube search, you'll see like a 10-part series of us riding the Vespas around in Mexico, like all the way to Guadalajara, then Puebla. We were on the coast, going through till we took the ferry across, and I had a lot of fun making those videos. Like it was all done with like GoPros.
I'm glad we accidentally found it because it wasn't relevant to this whole conversation.
Yeah, they're really hard to find. And YouTube just buries that shit.
Right, and what is kind
YouTube
of
just wants to show the newest stuff.
Right. That's awesome.
What's really funny is one of their videos is they did this Pacifico, right? So they did these scooters,
the Pacifico bikes. Yeah,
and the Pacifico bikes are all painted exactly the same. They're all Vespa GTSs, right? They're all painted identically the same. And what my favorite, I guess, there's a lot of stuff to love, but one of my favorite things about them is when you see these three bikes together, you are looking for the mariachi band. Yeah. Like you are instantly, as soon as you see these three machines together, you're like, yeah, there's totally a mariachi band coming down the street at some point. But they're gorgeous. And like everything on them, the lettering, like the Piaggio lettering is all done in the Pacifico font and the format. Yeah. And the shame is, we can't show it on video because there's pictures of it's you and Bailey, and is it Dutra?
Yeah.
That are in the mariachi costumes.
Oh yeah, there is the video. There is a YouTube video.
Right.
Like if you look in those Mexico, I don't know, you probably type the word Pacifico Vespa.
We were just showing a piece of it.
Come up. Yeah.
Well, I strongly recommend, it's called Pacifico Themed Vespas Bound for Mexico. It is one of my favorite videos ever because Bailey is just on fire. He's on fuego. And the thing that's so silly about it is that this has got 2,000 views, right?
It's not, they just didn't get much traction.
They just didn't get any traction at all.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you three guys doing this trip, to me, it's hilarious. I just love every part of it. And I love the bikes too. I think the entire build out, the entire adventure is super cool. So glad you guys did it.
Yeah, that was a fun time. It was like we had parked the Vespa, go on like a week-long trip, parked the Vespas in some Mexican town, and it was all over the place. Like we crossed those bikes across the ferry from La Paz to Mazatlan like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do that. There's no way that I would cross the ferry from into Mazatlan. I don't think that would be a smart thing to do right now.
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure how it goes now, but we did so much crazy stuff with those Vespas, and we did so many trips. I don't even know how many flights. At least over all the years, a dozen flights to go back and visit those bikes and ride them around.
That is so cool.
Like last time I went to Guadalajara, I didn't keep up the registration or the Mexican temporary import visa for the bike. It's all like expired.
Yeah,
and I just rode with the Mexican club. They're like, "Oh, you just stay in the middle."
Yeah, that's how it works. When you don't have good plates,
we'll do all the talking if anything happens.
Right.
You know?
You just bury yourself.
Riding an illegal bike as a foreigner in Mexico. That's technically my bike, but in Mexico, mainland Mexico, you need this temporary import visa that pretty much is like puts a bounty on the bike that you're going to bring it back and not sell it down there, essentially. You know, and I've let that long expire. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it seems like obviously you've got a great group of friends. I really consider myself lucky getting down into your nest down in San Diego, because it's introduced me to all these characters. And some of the best riding I've ever done with all of our goofy friends. It's a blast. It's always a good time. And there's always an adventure. So I tell people, don't stay away from Mexico. You're going to have fun there, man. It's going to be a joyful occasion.
It's always been good times. Even when, probably the worst thing that's ever happened is Bailey and I were drinking beers on the side of the road and got shaken down by the police. And, whatever.
How much did that cost you?
Well, they think they're going to get $100, but it's more like, no, you kind of threaten to narc them out,
right?
And it ends up being $40. And you don't show a wallet with $100 bills. No. There's some, things you just have like third world logic you need to have when you go down there.
Carry a dummy wallet.
Yeah.
You put the big bills in the prison wallet.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Keister that shit. Yeah. But so that's a good tip too. If you're going to run down into Mexico, what do you think? What do you think of that you would do traveling in Mexico? Literally, Pete's idea of having a dummy wallet is brilliant. Just having here's something, you're going to pull this out of your pocket and they're going to be like, yeah, that's his wallet. They have no idea that that's your backup wallet.
I definitely may have more money, but no one needs to know about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe your doctor.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the most expensive thing I'd bring, I guess, is a mobile phone and a GoPro. Right. I don't. There's no need to bring anything else flashy down there. So, if you are going to get shaken down, so
yeah, I generally keep about $30 or $40 in singles, and so it looks a little bit like a wad of money, but then you realize, that's $40.
I like this. You guys are like, everything's great. You can come down, everybody's partying, but then let's make a tactical plan.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea is you don't want to be the fool, right?
Right. And I get it. I'm just teasing.
I do the same thing when I go to New Orleans, so it's no different.
Well, Tom lived there, so that was,
right.
Yeah, I've been pulled over with a friend. We ran a stop sign down in San Felipe, and the cop was kind of wanting to play the shakedown, and the cop station was literally 2 blocks away. I'm like, nope, we're going over here. Even our broken ass Spanish. And it was 500 pesos, $30, like the ticket. I only wish a stop sign in California. I don't know what it is, probably $600.
Yeah.
And a point on your record.
Yeah. Last time I was in San Felipe, it kind of bothered me that the 3 police officers I saw were all gorgeous women. And I mean, gorgeous women. And I don't know if that's a special program they have in San Felipe, because you get a lot of the score truck drivers there and off, the desert racing, that they want their cops to be like umbrella girls. But their cops were strikingly gorgeous. And I was actually wondering if it was like a public relations thing to make sure that they hired some beautiful cops. It's a different scene. It's totally different. And your money does go farther down there if you're not trying to use it like an American. Because I watched Bailey negotiate for how much we spent on a hotel room while we were eating dinner in the restaurant we were sleeping in that night. He didn't book the room ahead of time. and pay the market price, whatever that room was. We had 30 or 40 people sitting down to eat, and he was negotiating with management at the dinner table about what we were going to spend per room for that very night. And then he comes out and he's like, okay, it's like $10 a person. And that number didn't even figure anywhere into the list price of the hotel room. So Bailey's got the confidence that he doesn't slow down at all when it comes time to get a better deal on a hotel room. So I think there might be something to be said for that. You know, the price isn't necessarily set in stone in Mexico.
Yeah, it's very much like a heavy negotiating kind of like you kind of negotiate everything. You know, I'm short of going to Costco or like the Cali Max, the grocery store. You don't, it's a little different. There's like somebody bagging your groceries at the end. You're supposed to tip them. You know, you don't tip somebody bagging your. So there's a lot of little nuances that are a little different, down there. But all other business, everything's negotiated.
Well, another time we went in there and we were buying a shit ton of fireworks, and the kid was in the fireworks place taking the prices off the fireworks so they could charge us more money for them. So they were doing the price correction towards us. And I watched the kid running around pulling all the price tags off all the fireworks. And I just saw that everybody that went in after me was paying like 3 or 4 times what I was paying for the fireworks. I was like, yeah, okay. They leaned into us. They figured us out real quick. We paid a lot of money for some second-rate Chinese fireworks.
Yeah, in the border towns, it's like you're paying closer than, like, it's still a bargain, but you're paying more closer to American price. It's like you get into the small towns much further away or in mainland Mexico, you're like, whoa, food really is cheap, and lodging's like incredibly cheap. You know, it's just because the cost of living is just way less, down there.
It doesn't pay to camp. It really doesn't. When you can get a room for $10.
Yeah, it's really hard to argue why you need to sleep in a tent when you can get lodging as cheap as you can. And that's a big part of why people go there. But in order to get that, you got to get the hell away from the tourist towns. Yeah. You can't expect that in a tourist city. If you're traveling there and you're paying in dollars, you're not getting a great deal.
Yeah, it's kind of get to know the currency, their pesos. I mean, you pretty much at the border, you could exchange money or even use like a American ATM. You just pay like a surcharge. So it's best to like take out like, 10,000 pesos in one shot, because, you get this like one-time fee and a fairly favorable exchange rate at the time.
So what's on your bucket list? What place in Mexico haven't you been yet that you want to do?
I've been to Oaxaca, but it was for the Encuentro Nacional, which is the big scooter rally, which they have a lot of Vespa fans down there. And we didn't have a scooter to ride. I was with the Baileys, but I want to go back there either to ride. The countryside was really beautiful. Some of the stuff, we were up in the mountains. Here's a Bailey story. We had like this little like rental car that felt like a 1994 Civic, but it was a Chevrolet, some little Chevy car. And we drove it off road up into the mountains. And then we ran into a bunch of guys with donkeys hauling logs out of the forest with donkeys. And then of course, Steve was helping them.
Oh, of course he was.
Yeah. So, just weird stuff that you just never would expect. And I don't know.
I'm surprised Steve left. I'm surprised Steve's not still helping him to this day. Like, he's that guy. He just injects himself. Anytime work is being done, Bailey's going to help, right?
Yeah.
He's just going to get involved. That is going to be it.
Gets involved. Yeah. Helps them set bricks, mix concrete. They don't get a concrete truck, a cement truck.
Right.
If they got to mix 4 yards, they fill a couple like beat up old trucks with a bunch of bags and they hand mix the bags. Yeah. And those bags down there, they're not the weakling like 90-pound bags we have in America. They're like like 50 or 60 kilo bags or something insane, which is like 120 pounds. Like OSHA would never allow a bag that big of concrete, but in Mexico it's okay. There's a difference.
There is a difference. And Pete, what's the spot you'd like to go to?
Well, I was going to ask Robot if he's been there. My spot that I want to go to is Copper Canyon.
I've that's like a great motorcycle. I've talked to people ridden through that. It's pretty desolate, but
tell me about what Copper Canyon is.
Oh, it's just a remote canyon. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon.
Oh, but, they're equivalent, yeah. But it's not like a national park, I don't think. But you go, I think, through Laredo. Yeah, you kind of go. It's almost like if you draw a line from Laredo to Mexico City, and it's like halfway in between those two. So
is that in Cholula?
I think it is. Now I got to bring the map up.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Is that where they make the sauce?
Yes.
Cholula?
Yeah, it is.
I think if you go there from
Chihuahua.
If you go there from Arizona and go south.
Yeah, Chihuahua.
Yeah. It's a Chihuahua.
You're going through Durango and Chihuahua, maybe?
Yeah, that's definitely Chihuahua. And so that's like direct south of San Juanito. Yeah, that's, hey, and that is not going to be...
What's it like down in Enchilada?
It's very saucy.
I don't know. Like most of central Mexico, it's very much just like a continuation of Texas. But then it's like surrounding Mexico City, the mountains are like insane. There's like, I think there's like a 17,000 foot mountain peak outside of Mexico City.
I guess I just never thought about mountains in Mexico, but yeah. I mean,
and then you go to the coastline, like towards Acapulco and Puerto Escondido, and all around those areas, it gets very tropical, like tropical forest, and like you drive. I remember riding to Puerto Vallarta on the coast, and like is full blown tree cover, and there's like a truck with like a pickup truck with a bunch of pineapples in it and stuff, and one pineapple fell off, and I remember picking it up. We ate that later. So, but we were completely covered by tree cover, like tropical jungle kind of style.
We did the Yucatan Peninsula when I was just a kid, and that's what it was. That's what I remember it being, all jungle and stuff like that, and pyramids.
Yeah, even as you get pretty far down in Baja, which isn't even nearly as far down as Puerto Vallarta, it feels kind of tropical in La Paz and all those areas, in
we were in La Paz and Uxtapa and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it really is. It's remarkably close and easy for us to go to a place that is just the nicest possible weather. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. We were there in February, and it was just 85 degrees and sunshine and perfect. It was just as good as you could ever ask for. That's one of those things about a lot of people right now are saying, oh, just don't go to Mexico. Right. And I'm saying I wouldn't slow down one bit. I'll be there in 2 months. I'm not the least bit concerned. I mean, I'm not going to treat this trip any differently than I would treat a trip to anywhere else. There's gangs of bad guys in Oahu. There are people that are going to steal from you anywhere you're going to go. You just don't go where they are.
Getting stolen from is one thing. Getting hurt, that's the only thing. You know what I mean? Right. I can stand, okay, you took my wallet.
Sure.
Big deal. Yeah. Okay, I'm going home. But, just getting hurt.
I did the math a while ago. I have lived in 3 of the top 10 worst cities in America for getting hurt.
Yeah, what's the common denominator?
Tom Pennington.
Oh, don't live in these cities. I've lived in 3 of them.
Cleveland just made the list, folks.
Well, I can tell you
actually, Cleveland's like number 7.
My own stupidity has cost me more money.
Number 10 before you moved here, buddy.
I've had more.
Because nobody lived here.
Wallet theft. I've had my wallet stolen more times by myself, being a dumbass and forgetting where I put it or leaving it like.
That's not stolen, Phil.
This is my point. It's my fault. Like, I've lost my wallet by my own damn fault more than I've ever had it stolen from.
Yeah.
Right. And it's to try to say I'm not going to go somewhere because I'm worried about a crime happening to me. Yes. I try to choose cool places to go. right? I'm not trying to go somewhere super dangerous.
You told me a while ago, you will not go to any city or state or country that is not better than Cleveland.
I have a rule. And that is anywhere I'm going, it should be better than where I live.
So you can pretty much go anywhere.
I can go anywhere. Yeah. Well, it's pretty handy.
Except Buffalo.
It's not an unhandy rule.
Except for Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana's off the list.
We've been corrected.
Yeah?
They said that they've rejuvenated it.
I've been there. I was just there not even a month ago.
They need to keep it.
Okay.
Who told you that? The Music Man?
Gary, Indiana.
Go spend a day in Steubenville and then tell me how bad Cleveland is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And I'm not using, my thing is, I'm not going to make a destination vacation out of somewhere that it's worse than Cleveland, because my job is to go places that are better than here, right? I live here at a low cost of living, so I can go places that are better than here. Right?
So the entire state of Nebraska is safe.
Yeah, well, we joke all the time with our friend Barry in San Francisco. Barry's got a beautiful house. Barry's got a beautiful view. Barry's got an absolutely gorgeous place to live. And he's like, yeah, but you have to love it because you can't afford to leave. So, I'm kind of the opposite situation. I choose to live somewhere that's super affordable so I can go and do fun things in other places. That's the idea. So, yeah, that's the deal. What do you got coming up, Robot, that you can't come to Guadalajara?
I don't know. Probably, I don't know. It's just running the shop. Right now I only have one tech and my brother working for me.
It's just you and your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
What do you think the labor rate is of our shop here in San Diego?
Oh, I would hope it's 175.
Try 200 an hour.
I was looking at 210 myself.
200 an hour. All
Car
right.
dealers are 260 here.
What's that? What'd you say?
Like a car dealer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've seen the tickets.
$200 an hour.
That's the problem.
Does that include free room and board though?
I have people because I have the YouTube, they're like, I want to go all the way out. Like, really? You're going to somehow spend all that money and resource to get it here, and then I'm going to charge you that much per hour? I'm very honest. Like,
yeah, but you'll sign our T-shirt.
10 minutes, but
hey, Mark Hamill's charging like $300 a signature now. Robot's got to be at least worth $150.
I meant free room and board for your mechanics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, John might come out.
If you got a shipping container I can live in, I might take that deal.
We got it. There's a nice shower here at the shop. There's
it's San Diego, man.
Need that.
You can sleep on the beach.
Yeah.
If my wife ever kicks me out, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's
if your
literally
wife ever kicks you out, you're sleeping in the back of the shop.
80 degrees today. It's like so
or
nice
down
today.
here.
I have heard though that Robot is he's selling his signatures for $200, but you do get an hour of labor.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. He'll sign it right on the work invoice.
Hey.
I'm not brilliant, but I see what you did there.
Hey, Robot, I have a question about San Diego. So do the putt-putt shops still exist?
I'll
take that.
Yeah.
That might be a no. So it's a place that I worked in like 1978. They were a Volkswagen bug specialist.
The only place I know of that's like a retail front is called V Parts.
Okay.
And they're National City, which is like the first little city that's south of San Diego proper. So
yeah, I would say if there's an air-cooled Volkswagen shop in San Diego, it would have to be in National City. Mm-hmm. Because that would be the only place they could afford the rent on the disturbing amount of lack of income.
Yeah, and they've been there forever.
Dan's like, the last time I was there was 59 years ago, but I'm just wondering.
I was following the dead, making some handcrafts here, and we were there.
There were like 6 or 7 of them around San Diego back in the late 70s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's still amazing when you go there and you see what cars are still on the road compared to here, where rock salt takes all the cars away.
The West Coast is where cool cars don't die.
But
I have a 1991 Jeep Cherokee. It's still pretty good. You know where it's rusting? It's rusting on the top. Because the misty air from the sea kind of gets in the rain gutter and stuff like that. That's where they rust here. They rust from the top down. While everywhere, in the rust belt, they just rust out from the bottom. That was 20 years ago. That car would have been thrown away.
Does it make any sense to take your car down to Mexico to get it fixed? Would it be cheaper?
Oh yeah, people do paint jobs down there. Yeah, I've done some.
Actually, people have done that with old Beetles.
Nice.
El Senor Scheib.
Hey,
and it was painted outside. There's some specs in it, like they wet down the dirt before they shot it.
Hey, Robot. Hey, Robot. Tell them about the Toyota Tundra that we test drove that had Mexican fenders.
Oh yeah, that thing had Bondo. It had I remember seeing remnants of the drywall tape. You know, the fiberglass drywall tape that's kind of hollow. Yeah. But probably drywall screws in there too.
But the fenders, though, the actual fenders were thinner. They were thinner than a fender is supposed to be. So instead of like touching the fender and having it be fender, to feel like a fender, you touch the fender and it felt like 3 mil, like 3 mil plastic,
like a pop can.
Right. It felt like a pop can. It felt like aluminum pop can, and the truck looked great from 20 feet away, and it drove like a rocket ship. It drove great, but you'd close the door and the entire truck, like drywall screws, would fall out of it. So I think that might be the kind of work that you get down in Mexico, because the guys that were running that dealership where we looked at it were definitely, they were definitely bringing those cars up from Mexico daily.
Which is weird because usually trucks go south.
Yeah, well,
yeah, some of them stay down there, but the import them down there sometimes is like, like they try to protect the dealers that are in Mexico. So you got to pay like 32% like import tariff to bring a used vehicle down to Mexico. It's only the rich people that bring nice vehicles down there.
Wow, that's really weird because the number of road trains I've seen of cars heading south from like Birmingham and stuff from the auctions.
I think a lot of them do. Yeah, especially when they're really cheap to bring down there. Yeah.
Well, you'll definitely be seeing Oscar and I again as soon as the Toyota Hilux Champ. When the Toyota Hilux Champ arrives in Mexico, you're going to get a visit from Phil and Oscar. Are going to be down there right quick.
I get excited to see a Suzuki Jimneys and those people driving around in San Diego because they have Mexican plates. Yeah. Like, I'd rather have a little like $18,000 Jimny than a $65,000 Jeep Wrangler. So.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that Hilux Champ is going to be...
Oh, yeah.
Oscar doesn't know it yet, but Oscar's going to be buying one of those. He's just going to let me drive it for a couple of years.
No, Oscar knows exactly what's going to happen.
That's it. And because we're up here in Cleveland, it's going to have Baja license plates on it for as long as it can.
Yeah, the police wouldn't even know what to do.
They have no idea.
Yeah. Nor would they really care.
They wouldn't care.
Yeah. As long as you don't drive through Bay Village, I think you're fine.
That's just on my commute back and forth
or
to work.
Springfield, Ohio.
Right. We're fine. That's fine. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really help give people a little heads up about, if Pete and me and you, if we can travel in Mexico and have fun, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. There's that, and if you need some hand holding, there's like excellent tours. Some of them leave out of San Diego. Some there's off road ones, and I think there's some road tours, for Baja.
And for the right amount of money, we're down there.
And then Robot.
I sometimes hear what they paid. I'm like, I just came down. I just crossed the border and came down here on my own. But I'm sure they're fun because they kind of like have a whole agenda. If that's what your thing is. Some people like cruise ships, some people don't. So,
and then Robot, one more time, if people want to find your videos, because you have all kinds of repair videos, how-to videos, how to identify videos, anything to do with Vespas, vintage Vespas, modern Vespas. Am I missing anything?
Every once in a while, Mexico trips, some other oddball things. Not too much.
And so, where do people go to find that?
What's your YouTube tag?
It's called Vespa Motorsport. Just the name of our shop here in San Diego.
Okay, and you could be one of the other 500,000 plus people that enjoy his content.
Love his content.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whenever I'm stumped, I look at Robot's videos.
Of course, absolutely. Yep.
That tells you how good Robot is.
Yeah, I've never heard Tom say anybody who's better about anything.
Yep.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Robot has done all the math.
Yeah.
Well, and also Robot has also looked at the Vespa service guide. and realized how useless it is.
Exactly. and oh my God, I figured it out. I know Tom's motive now. He's the only person that knows if he's bullshitting.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, that's super cool. Well, have fun tonight. We'll let you. You shouldn't still be at the shop. Go home.
I'm still at the shop. Yeah.
Of
Robot,
course you
go
are.
get tacos.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Robot.
Goodbye,
All
Robot.
right. Nice to see everybody.
Cheers, man. Love from Renee.
All right.
Nice. Well, that was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was good to hear from
Having
Robot.
Jeff come on is great, man. We can't thank him enough. It's super cool. I've known that guy for a long time, and he's always just been just like that. Always just been super nice guy, and has given me the shirt off his back before. So he's just
That's just because he wanted to show off his chest.
really just a good dude to hang around with. But the Baileys, Jeff, all of our friends over in San Diego have been so kind. Those trips that they put on, they would be like, okay, well, this is going to be a small trip, 14 people. And they would manage to get 14 motorcycles, 14 scooters down the road. But then other trips, no Borders Limits rallies, we go down there and we would leave out of the United States with 70 bikes. And then we'd run into another 70 bikes in Tijuana. And so that's 140 people running down the road and down Baja. And, I'll tell you how we did our campsite. Okay, this looks like a good spot. Stop. And just set up a full kitchen next to the water. And then they run into Ensenada and come back with hundreds of pounds of seafood. And
that's the other thing that wasn't mentioned when we were just talking about traveling in Baja. There's stuff there that's like you can't get away with in the States. You can ride on the beach, and you don't have to look for like a designated riding area.
No.
You can just drive off the road into the desert or onto the beach, and you can just drive down the beach. It's super cool, and you can camp, like wild camp anywhere. I haven't done that, but I see people do it all the time.
So, like, are people just scattering as you're driving, or? So you're saying open beaches?
open beaches.
Yeah.
Okay, I was imagining he's like hitting like Venice Beach of Mexico, just
sure.
wailing through the.
Oh, there's a guy selling balloons. And just go right by him. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, beach blankets everywhere.
Right.
Just total chaos.
Total.
Yeah, that is just one of those things that there is an immense amount of freedom there when you're talking about like, okay, I want to go camp in that spot. I want to go do that thing.
Or if you want an open desert ride, you can just be riding for like 100 miles, and it's like open land. It's not like you're trespassing. They're just like trails through like wilderness desert. It's crazy.
Yeah. You get to the point and you're like, what's over there? And you'll see a set of tracks. You'll see a set of tire tracks that run off into the distance. That looks like fun. Let's go and see what's there. And you just chase it. You just chase those tire tracks off into the distance and go on for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And then you realize what the tracks are there for. It's because there's a hilltop with a great view, something amazing, some cool campsite back there, some waterfall you can jump off into the river.
Or it's just a shortcut from one side of the peninsula to the other side of the peninsula, and you're not taking really a road. You're just following a trail that goes up over the mountains, down the other side, and next thing you know, you're on the other side of the peninsula.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing travel, and it kind of pissed me off last week when here we are sitting in a place that has an armed guard at the front of it, right? That's got walls, and it's all you can eat, it's all you can drink. It's absolute life of luxury. And there were people sitting in there with us that were like, oh yeah, we need to get out of here. We need to go to the embassy. We need to go home. We need to get out of this place. There's something kicking up, and it's kicking up 300, 400, 500 miles away from here, 1,000 miles from here. It's kicking up. And you're talking about running the hell away?
And it's like, oh no, something happened in Detroit. I can't go home.
Exactly. Right.
Well, when we were there, we walked off property, across the street, to the gas station, to the pharmacia.
Sure.
And everybody was like, you walked off the property?
And meanwhile, that neighborhood is one of the nicest neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Like, period. That in Punta Sam, that right by where our resort is, that's where you catch the ferry to go to Isla Mujeres. There's a lot of money that makes a right turn there.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why I wouldn't be thrilled to buy a house there.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about it, by the way, the houses are really fucking expensive. I looked.
Oh, but what a great transition to one of the stories that we looked up. Was there is a place that you probably don't want to be riding there.
And that's absolutely true.
And seriously,
turns
this
out,
surprised us.
Stay the fuck out of Iran.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
stay the fuck out of Iran because this is real. And I did not realize this until I got deeper into the story. They're getting some press right now. This lovely couple, motorcyclists, goal was to drive around the world. They made it to the border of Iran and they got snagged and they've been in jail for 14 months.
And what were they sentenced to?
10 fucking years for allegedly spying. This is...
But if you go deeper...
Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason that they got spying, and this is the scary part, especially for any of us that do YouTube-y type stuff, they were recording their trip. And they were reporting back on social media like, hey, here we are, so-and-so, right? Then she taught for a college. And that college, according to Iran, was considered to be a possible spy agency. So the photos and videos that they were supposedly taking is what they were saying that's why they were guilty of spying.
Yeah.
Which means that anybody that usually travels and does worldwide trips, I mean, Pete, you take a camera with you, right?
Yeah.
You're a spy.
Right.
Potentially.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
look at Pete,
in Pete's defense, he is also former retired military, so technically that brings him up one more.
You're screwed.
Because
you're special ops.
I think about shit like that sometimes.
Well, remember, you were told you couldn't have a visa into China.
Yes.
Because that whole thing is Iran's no different.
Correct.
So you probably couldn't get a visa in Iran because you were former American military.
Perhaps. Right.
So...
Or you're going to, if they let you in, you're going to be suspect. You're going to be like...
I just think I'm really good with not going to Iran. I don't feel
I'm not going to lie.
I don't need to rock the Casbah.
I'm not going to lie. Iran, the pictures I've seen out of Iran are very beautiful.
I'm sure.
And they have a very great, the car collection of the former Shah is amazing. I would love to see that. There are airplanes you can fly in Iran that do not fly anymore in the rest of the world.
There are about 4 places in the world I don't want to go, and 2 of them are Iran.
Well, you'll notice on Fortnite's trip, on Yellow Habibi, right? They had to go around the world. They didn't choose to go through Syria, Iran. There's a whole lot of parts of around the world that they didn't go to.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
and
they don't like me. I know it. I get it. I understand. I'm going to stay away.
Well, one of the guys I ran into in Munich was Iranian. And he is fine with Americans. The problem is he's not fine in Iran.
The vast majority of people that I've met from anywhere are wonderful people, and they're great with Americans. The problem is we're now talking about things on a government level. Yeah. So the guy who's putting you in handcuffs could be talking about, I love America. America's great. I got a brother there. I got a cousin there. I went to school there. The guy who's putting you in the handcuffs is telling you how much he loves America. But it doesn't change the fact he's putting you in handcuffs. And every single person in the prison they lock you up in, and the guy was literally in solitary confinement for 57 fucking days. Okay? And if that's not going to make you lose your fucking mind, I don't know what will. But again, they didn't murder somebody. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't light somebody on fire. They simply were there with cameras doing a well-documented trip around America, around the world on motorcycles. Now, our media didn't detain them and hold them as spies. I am of the opinion that when Iraq, when Iran, when the Taliban snag people, it's trading fodder. They're snagging you not because what they think you actually fucking did. It's they think that there's somebody that will pay a beautiful fucking ransom for your ass.
That's what you're worth.
It's what you're worth.
That's that basketball player that got nabbed for
Absolutely,
weed
for a
in
vape.
Russia.
Brittany Griner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they grabbed her because of the most ridiculous of circumstances. But again, it's trading fodder. What can they get back? Well, what they got back is their greatest arms dealer.
Oh, God,
the guy they wrote stories about, the guy they made a God of War movie about.
Lord of War is
right.
one of my favorite movies ever.
Well, all it took was a basketball player with a vape to end up being trading fodder for that.
Yeah.
I'm completely convinced that this couple that has been in jail now for 13 months, a lot of it, and in a very, I'm not going to say that any jail in Iran is going to be a great jail, but this is a jail that is notorious. Pretty bad scene for these two people that thought, honey, I think we should do. I think we should ride motorcycles around the planet. Let's do something cool. Let's ride motorcycles across a fucking planet. Just go all the way around the planet. It'd be great. And that is this amazing sense of privilege to be like, yeah, we're going to be able to just fucking.
What if she was from up north and she was like, you
Which is fucking ridiculous to think that, okay, that one, your life is so easy and you have that kind of privilege that you're just going to roll in and it's not going to be a problem. Well, like, again, there's places I don't want to go.
Right.
Well, you'll see people
Nebraska,
even
I get
traveling
it.
in Europe sometimes, like a loudmouth American, like, you can't do this to me, I'm an American.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can watch YouTube videos about people having meltdowns, but you got to remember, you're not an American anymore. So.
I watched one firsthand on Sunday.
Okay, yeah, right.
Okay, when when the cartel's kicking off in, Puerto Vallarta, and I got people sitting literally on the opposite side of the fucking country, because Puerto Vallarta's on the left side, Cancun's on the right side, the furthest right side, right? And we're sitting here.
Also known as the East.
The east side, right? And here we are having cocktails and the whole deal, and there's some privileged, New Jersey attorney talking about, they can't do that. I'm an American. And I was like, you're in fucking Mexico, pal.
Yeah.
First one, check one. The only reason you didn't have to buy a visa that said you're only allowed to be here for a certain amount of time is because of the amazing relationship between the United States and Mexico. Because there are a hell of a lot of other places. You want to go there, you got to pay for a visa just to make the trip, just to be there. And they're going to keep very close tabs on how long you're there and where you're going. Mexico's not one of those places. We have very, very unfettered travel between our two countries. If you think for a second that, Mr. Guy of privilege, Mr. New Jersey attorney, but he's also a guy that said he was a minority because he was a Jewish attorney in New Jersey.
I thought that was the majority.
Again, that's why everybody should hate this guy, right? But he's the guy that makes things uncomfortable for other Americans who are trying to be cool and travel and see cool shit. There are people that will ruin it for you. There are. And, sometimes you meet those people and they're Russian. Sometimes you meet those people and they're American. Sometimes you meet these people and they're from somewhere else. One, don't be that guy. Two, get the fuck away from that guy. Because those guys are trouble magnets. That is where problems start. So if you're somewhere,
oh no, sir, I'm Canadian.
Yeah, well, that's never a bad idea, is it? Yeah,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, put the little patch, put the little flag on your backpack on Velcro.
How's the how's the hockey, eh?
Yeah, well, fair enough. That's Sono Canadian.
The boys lost, hey.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, that sucks. It sucks for this couple. It really does. But I do think they're probably they're probably being held.
I hate this.
Reserve.
Literally, I'm watching because somehow I've gotten onto all the airplane things because I watch all the airplane stuff on YouTube now, and the number of military Air Force we have in the Gulf right now, rattling sabers, is ridiculous, and so they are totally fodder.
We almost always do
in the Gulf, yeah.
Yeah, we almost always do, but I do think that this is trading fodder. Yeah. It's too bad. I mean, it really is too bad. And my heart goes out to them, absolutely. But if they were making that trip right now, they're planning that trip, and they said, "Hey, Phil, for the low price of free $99, you could join us on our trip, and we'll even provide you with a motorcycle, and you can go with us. All you got to do is hold the camera and watch." I'm going to be like, "I've seen your itinerary. Nope. No fucking thanks."
Nope.
Yeah. No fucking thanks. And okay, I'm not an adventurous traveler. I'm not, I'm a pussy. I'm not going to go into Iran. No, I'm not going to go into Iran.
No.
Yep. Yeah, sure. I'm not. That's a fact. And I won't. And what Itchy Boots does, she does so well. But a big reason she does that so much is she's from a place on planet Earth where everyone generally likes them. Right. Yeah. And so if you're a Swede, if you're a Norwegian, if you're these folks, that passport does a lot of heavy lifting. And it doesn't hurt that she's a super friendly lady on a motorcycle.
Well, that's like Ryan said. He said, some countries liked one of them, some countries liked the other one, and some didn't like any of them.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Traveling with a guy from America, a guy from Canada, and a guy was he from Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Lebanese. He's Lebanese.
Lebanese, yeah.
Right. So boom. Yeah, that's that joke about three guys going to a bar.
I've got an acquaintance from Kuwait who routinely does business in Iran, and I still wouldn't go with him into Iran.
I am not going to discuss, because part of my research for tonight's topic was I looked into the countries where the most tourists were arrested and abducted for the past 20 years. And we should not be so nice to Abu Dhabi.
Oh,
okay?
No.
And the number of people that have had their travel interrupted is the nicest way to put it, right? From that place would make somebody extremely cautious about traveling, right? The number was surprising of people Russia's way up there. China's way up there. But there's some chess being played with human beings.
Now, is this list for the poors or for...
I think you have to have value as a human being.
You know what I can tell you? It would not be very good to be a very high-level education person or a high-level journalist.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think, oh, well, I've earned my right to go travel the world and I'm going to go see all these cool places, and I have a couple of doctorates before my name, or I'm with a certain news organization or been contributing to them, then you are a high-dollar target. You become an object of value, and your likelihood of not making it on the airplane coming home just went up.
So I'm fine.
The good thing
Nobody
is
wants me.
They came on the airplane when we left Mexico. They actually came on the airplane when all the people were sitting down, and they'd close the doors. They'd reopen the doors, and a Mexican transportation person came on the plane. So had a very, very intimate talk with Dr. Waters.
I was going to say, paging Dr. Waters.
And we got called up to the gate twice. So when we were trying to get on the airplane, they pulled us aside, and we had to go through and, pull the passports out, pull the boarding passes out. They actually asked Merritt for secondary ID. They actually wanted to see your driver's license. And there was some confusion of what the hell was going on. We thought we had everything sorted out. We got on the plane, we got seated, everybody's seated. And when we were seated, one of the flight attendants came up to us and said, "Are these the seats you're supposed to be in?" Yes, we are. So that was the probable cause to say, okay, then, so you're Philip Waters and you're Merritt Waters. Yes, we are. Right. And then the door opened to the airplane, and security, Mexican security came on, and I took a picture of his badge, his ID, because I wanted to make sure I knew who took my wife. Right. Because,
Wow, they wear IDs?
Yeah. Well, I know it's so weird. No mask.
You know what?
Right. Didn't have a mask on his face, had ID. Go figure.
Oh, hey.
And it was presently displayed. And I kind of put my hand up a little bit and got a picture of his ID and his face. And he backed up and let me do it. Right. But then he made sure to go through all of Merritt's credentials while he was on the radio with somebody else, calling out every digit of her passport number, calling out the expiration dates of her passport. Nothing else happened. He said, everything's okay. And he walked away. But all the people on that airplane were not sweating as much as Merritt was. Right. And then I was second. Right.
Yeah. But when you got back on, were they like, ooh, who are these bad?
Well, we were just sitting there. We never got off.
But you realize Phil
they visited us at our seat.
He has
That's when you pull out the stories. When
set of skills.
People come up to you later. Yeah. And they're like, what happened? You're like, well.
Well, I was actually
my wife's an international spy.
The thought was going through my head is, how much resistance do I put up?
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna put up enough resistance that everybody on this airplane gets their phones out, their cameras out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put up enough resistance. I'm gonna be loud enough to make sure there's 100 cameras pointing at us, without actually laying hands on the guy, because then you're going to jail.
Yeah.
Right. But if I can get all the cameras out, that's gonna help my situation a lot. Mm-hmm. And so it stayed pretty cool, but meanwhile, I was already one step ahead of it, going, okay, well, there's going to be a time where I need to escalate this to get the cameras out.
Did she bring vegetables on the flight again?
She did.
It's the cucumber.
It's the fucking broccoli. I'm telling you, man. It's the Brussels sprouts. Do you have anything to declare? No, nothing at all. You brought those vegetables from Cleveland. They've been in 2 countries already, you know? My wife loves traveling with vegetables. Yeah, better than Sleepy's wife loves traveling with chickens. So it's a different kind of, it's a different kind
She took one on an airplane, dude. I'm not kidding you.
It's an emotional
when her
support
dad
chicken.
when her dad was like not doing well before he passed away, and she went to visit him.
We remember.
cat carrier.
Yeah, cat carrier, and Oscar flew down with her. He's the special needs chicken, so he can't stand up on his own.
Your wife should travel with Merritt, Dr. Waters, and you could have a stir fry.
Your special needs chicken needs to meet my special needs ferret.
Yeah, they could hang out.
Oh my God.
And don't say my special need. I have no part of
No.
No special needs raccoon.
Sleepy has his own special needs.
Yeah, same here.
Bev is awesome. Leave Bev out of it. Oh man, I love that raccoon. I mean, that. Fuck.
Oh man. Well, that's it. There's no reason for us to go any further. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Again, can't thank you guys enough for listening. It was great having Robot on. Absolutely love it. Again, if you want to play along, please do. Email us directly, clevelandmoto@gmail.com. We got a couple coming in, and that was pretty rad.
I believe the phrase is, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got a bunch of cool videos coming up on Moto Stories. Another one with the king of mini bikes. I have an update on Greg, and then I'm going to go see Steph next week.
Fantastic.
So and totally like and subscribe us. Like I know we're assholes. But.
Okay, but hold on, Tom. Don't say that, because Patreon, Andy Miller's there, just showed up at the $5 level. So not different Andy Miller. Not unless our Andy Miller.
Not our Andy, right?
Not unless our.
I know. I have an Andy Miller also.
Well, is your Andy Miller's handle Milla AK-47? Okay, I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there. Okay, and James Paul McNeil came in at the $10 level. So these guys are helping a lot,
and they get the punchlines.
And they're getting the punchlines, and more importantly, that is helping us pay our way for shit like Mid Ohio, for stuff that we do like the AIM Expo. Thank you. Yeah, these are things that we actually give us the ability to do this cool shit.
Yeah.
And we really love it. And the fact that you guys are willing to buy us a beer, the fact that you guys are willing to, send us a $5 every month. That's a big deal.
The whole plan this year is to get the kitchen up and running a little bit better than we did last year, which was a lot of things.
Sure.
And the tiki bar from the Colorado guys, and then Sean keeps talking about doing coffee.
It just keeps getting better.
And we built a fucking TV studio. So
right. That's exactly right.
There's a little something with that.
That's exactly right.
I want an air-conditioned inflatable space.
We're working on that. If you need to run a space for your OnlyFans videos, just let us know. We've got like seven 4K cameras down here now.
Yeah, or if you're aspiring to be an 8-person podcast and you're looking for a place to broadcast from.
We only do this one time a week.
I was going to say it's available 6 nights a week.
6 nights a week this thing is available.
At $490 an hour.
Right. That's exactly
current
right.
rates.
Yeah, if you need to have a tech, which you will.
We have so many cameras down there. I could film that scene from the fucking Matrix.
It is crazy. When you're looking out right now, when we're staring out at the monitor, I'm staring straight down the barrel of 6 or 7 cameras.
And I've got
you don't have a camera view for the cameras?
I literally have.
There's a Zapruder film?
You have to have a camera for Zoom. You have to have a camera for your face, that thing. The one I'm not using right now, but it's there. Yeah, so
we have them all.
So if you need to rent a space, let us know.
I have room for the ball cam, but I haven't hooked it up just yet.
The under table on a gimbal.
Hey, swearing just kicked
a PTZ. These nuts cam underneath.
Swearing just kicked us $10 for Bandcamp.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my God, Swangen! Oh, Swangen! $10 right on, man. We love it. All right, so on that, folks, remember to ride fast and take chances. Play us out of here, Johnny Mac. Bum, 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 Get us out of here!